3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon. This is Tanisha Laverne Grant reporting live from inside the Ed Bradley studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania. Founded in 1837, I have taken a moment to come back to the school that graduated me almost 20 years ago to chat with fellow alum and current students about Chaney University and what we can do to keep Chaney University sustainable and viable as we head towards the 21st century, or as we exist in the 21st century. I have with me Clarence Williams and Kevin Guile, founders of Stomp and Clay Productions, members of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity, beloved throughout the Delaware Valley. Talk to me a little bit about your experience here at Chaney and why you chose Chaney to start with. I'll start with you, Clay.
Yeah, my experience here, well, first of all, why I chose Chaney, Chaney recruited me out of high school to play football here. So I came here to actually play football, and it was the first time I actually heard of Chaney when I received a recruitment letter. But once I attended Chaney, my experience here was very fulfilling. Chaney University provided me the right environment and atmosphere to show my leadership abilities, which I never thought I had until I came to Chaney, and it gave me that opportunity. And then the classes that I took, it was outstanding, and they prepared me for the work that I do today.
Okay, now you said you got a recruiting letter in the mail. Mm-hmm. So you're a young man. At that point, you had never heard of the school, correct?
Absolutely.
So you get this letter, you open it up, and what's going through your mind's eye? Like, what are you thinking?
Another letter. It's another letter, actually.
Just another letter?
It was a few letters coming
in.
So
you had no idea it was the oldest HBCU? You had no idea of the gem?
No idea.
Okay.
No
All
idea.
Right. What about you, Stomp? Or I'm sorry, Kevin. These are my cohorts. These are men and women that I went to school with, so if I'm calling you by your maiden name or your nickname, it's all out of love and affinity. That's the Chaney way, so.
Right.
Like Clarence, my first experience with Chaney was I was a senior in high school. Actually, I came on a school visit. I was recruited really by another alum, Joseph Devane, who actually came here before.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And he set up in our cafeteria in the high school, and he said, "You going to Chaney?" I said, "What is Chaney?"
What is Chaney?
Yeah, he said, "Well, Chaney," he kind of gave me the land of Chaney. Being from the D.C. area, mostly all the HBCUs went south.
Right.
And I wasn't even sure there was schools past Morgan State that went north. So during my visit of Chaney, as a high school senior, in fact, I met Clarence, and he was a freshman during my visit to Chaney, and I just knew it felt like a family. It was a very nurturing place. So again, I came here on a football offer as well. I played football my freshman year at Chaney, so that was the initial experience with Chaney. Then after that, it was something totally different that I wasn't prepared for. Something that was awesome, a good experience.
What is the awesome that you mentioned here?
When I got here, it was an intimate school. It was it's like a family.
Okay.
And the experience was basically playing football. The juniors and seniors say, "Listen, you're going to be here. You make sure you go to class. Make sure that you be about your business." Because Chaney was unique. It was the only HBCU within a white school system.
Yeah.
Everything in the South was either CIAA, the MEAC, and it was very unique that you had an HBCU not in a black college conference.
Okay.
And with that, there was a whole lot of diversity that Chaney had to face within in that conference. So it was kind of a different experience that I wasn't aware about. So it actually made you even draw closer to the university.
Okay. Now, Clay, what is it that you do today?
Today I'm a global program manager for a telecommunications repair company. So it's all the stuff you don't see in the background and make your televisions, your cell phone calls.
Oh, wow.
So I run a program that we repair test and measurement equipment. So I run a program globally, whether it's in Beijing, Singapore, Madrid, Australia, all across the country.
Okay,
all across the world, I should say.
How did Chaney University prepare you for that?
Very interesting question. So when I was at Chaney, I took telecommunications technology, which was basically electronics. And it was a cutting edge of electronics.
Now, was that
an
actual major here at that
yes,
time?
Yes, it was. At the time it was, yeah.
Okay.
So in order to get my job as a technician, because that's where I started off as an entry-level technician, I had to pass a test. So they gave me a test, and everything I learned in one class at Chaney was on that test. And I got every answer right.
Wow, that's fantastic. So talk to me a little bit about one of the professors who was the most influential on you, not just academically, but on a young Clay Williams, a young man, you know, who helped shape you and mold you and guide you, you know, into the person you are today.
Yeah, there was a few, but Clarence Harris was one of the ones that really had an impact on me as a professional when I got to where my career is today. Because number one, he prepared me properly.
Okay.
Right.
How so?
The educational background that he gave, and not only the educational aspect of it, but he took the time after class to sit with anyone who wanted to go over any assignments or anything he wanted to do, and this was all electronics. And he also provided me with books, additional books. You know,
Okay.
if he saw that you wanted to be something or you wanted to work, he would do
find
that.
the resources to make sure that you had it.
And he's the one who told me about the job that I have today that I've been working for 24 years.
Are you serious?
Yes. Yes.
See, that's the beauty of Chaney University. Talk to me a little bit, Kevin. I have to say stop, I'm sorry. One of the professors who helped, you know, inspire you here, who helped shape and color how you navigate yourself.
I had several, but what stands out to me is Dr. Sanjay. He was an economics major and was a business major. I was a business major, and he was a business teacher. And he actually broke down the whole business sector to me. You know, because I wanted to be an accountant at first, but I said, you know, I don't know if I want to deal with numbers, sitting in a cubicle all my life. You know, I had a certain personality with people, and so I was a business administration major with management. But he broke down the business sector of money and banking, the Federal Reserve, how things work, how economics work, between management, union, dealing with staff, dealing with the whole. And my first project was following Walmart, before Walmart was Walmart.
Wow, because I was going to say, I don't know.
It was a small,
Yeah.
small operation in the South in Arkansas, and Walmart wanted to be like Kmart. They wanted to be Montgomery Ward's. They wanted to be Bradley's.
Montgomery Ward. Now you stop dating yourself up in here.
I say that because
Montgomery
all those
Ward.
companies are gone now because of Walmart. You
Wow.
know, so from that he prepared me, and when I say that because you know being in the business, being a national account manager, working for major corporations like a PepsiCo or Miller Brewing Company, doing consultant work for companies like Sunoco, you learn so much, and I realized that the things that they prepared me in Chaney. You know, I look around the room, the boardroom, and I don't see a lot of faces that look like me. You know, it's a very proud moment to say, you know what, I was prepared. I can compete people from Wharton. I can compete somebody from, you know, NYU.
The best and brightest, absolutely.
So absolutely. And I think that nurturing thing at Chaney just kind of gives you a step above. You know, I think one thing off, when Clarence and I were at Chaney, we did the first National Black College Convention.
I remember that convention.
Taking Dick Gregory to the airport and having that conversation.
Yeah, with Dick Gregory.
Yes, you know, and those things, those experiences, hands-on, that you may not get at a big university. You may not get at a non-historical black college or university.
Listen, that Black College Convention was serious. I was a student at Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania, and we came up for that convention, and I didn't go back. I was like, Daddy, and my dad is a proud Chaney alum, and he was like, oh, so now you want to go to my school? I'm like, well, I'm gonna show you why. But anyway, you two have started an organization, an entertainment company called Stomp and Clay, and that's why I wanted to interview you both together. Talk to me a little bit about that in its infancy, like how did that come to materialize? And, you know, it's caught on. You know, everybody knows about Stomp and Clay.
Well, it started right here on Chaney University campus.
Yes.
What year was it? Talk to me now.
Well, it's,
You really not going to say the year? It's okay.
Actually,
So whose idea, I always wanted to know whose idea was Stomp and Clay? Like, did it start out like, because you were here first, you're slightly older than he is,
Right.
Okay. So was it something you were doing prior to his arrival on campus? Or?
No, it was something that I started doing once I got involved with student government. Again,
Okay.
giving you these things, Chaney providing you these
Okay.
opportunities to do more, right? And just to give you a little background just about that little particular situation of Chaney providing you more, you know, our student government organization was an organization like no other because we were incorporated, right?
Oh.
So we ran the bookstore, right? We ran the snack bar.
You say you're right, you're talking about managed.
Yeah.
We manage.
Yeah.
A $250,000 budget.
Yeah, $250,000 budget, and we're students, right? And when these schools came up for the Black College Convention, you know, they were impressed to find out that, hey, you all own all this. You have employees that work for you, and we had employees that work for us on a payroll who we paid. So having that background, right, in managing student government helped. And then once I graduated, I started a little side company with, it was the first one, Diamond Production.
Diamond Productions.
And we were doing like,
Just entrepreneurship all the way.
right, we were doing like college concerts and things like that. And then we just started doing, at the time, they were parties. And then we started doing more things with entertainers. And then one day.
Do you remember, my apologies for
No,
cutting
that's
you
fine.
off, but do you remember the first event that you threw together as a collective as Stomp and Clay?
You know, I would say that, or at Stomp and Clay, the one thing we did, we came out of our first, I guess, graduating from college. We were initially about to start our company.
Okay.
You know, Stomp and Clay, well, it was called Diamond, we converted to Stomp and Clay Productions.
Okay.
But then we joined an organization, a nonprofit organization. We were asked to join.
Right.
And we spent 10 years right out of school building, doing fundraisers to give money for scholarship. And that became really like our test ground for Stomp and Clay as well, how to execute at a different level. Now, we were like the young guns of that organization. We were the youngest. And during that time, we were both also on the board of directors for the Chaney Alumni Association.
Right.
So we had a group called Men of Bakai, which I'm currently the president of that organization.
We all know Men of Bakai.
Right,
Yeah.
and so we actually did that labor of love, you know, work for free, and that was our ground to really sharpen our skills, our business acumen, doing events.
Education that they need, I think is more of brand marketing.
Brand marketing.
That's
Yeah,
what
we
I'm
really
saying
need
too.
to.
It's the marketing piece.
Right.
You know, you asked us the question, well, how'd you know about Chaney? You know, and I told you, an alum came down, came to our school, talked to us about Chaney. We're talking about Chaney, and I'm here. I think we have to get back. We have to go do our due diligence. A lot of times, people come to Chaney, they get what they want, and they leave and don't come back. And they don't give back, and they don't perpetuate, or they don't multiply themselves 5, 10 times. You know, we have to do some other things as well. It's not one silver bullet on this thing. There's several things we have to do. You know, from the alumni have to step their game up a little bit. We have to keep the university accountable. We have to have oversight. But we have to do some serious marketing because we just kind of take a lot of incoming, nothing outgoing. Nothing saying this is what you come to Chaney, this is what will happen to you if you come and get an education. You can compete with anybody to Mr. Williams' point. But at the same time, are we out there advocating for our university? Are we telling what things can happen here if you come here?
Right.
We tell them like Chaney will bring you in, nurture you, get you prepared, hands-on, great professors, great environment, one of the most beautiful campuses that you ever see anywhere. So we have a lot to offer, but we need to sell it. We're not doing a good job selling it.
Right.
Well, you know, as Marion Wright Edelman once said, you cannot be what you do not see, right?
Right.
You know, so
That's a good point.
gentlemen, thank you so much for allowing them to see so that they can be. I am Tanisha Laverne Grant, reporting live from inside the Ed Bradley studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania, and you are watching the Wolf Pack Project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Once again, I am back inside of the Ed Bradley television studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania, the oldest historical Black institution founded in 1837. I have with me right now Mr. Kenneth T. Walker, Jr., Chaney University class of 2000. He was a biology major when he was here. Talk to me about what it is that you're doing now and how Chaney prepared you for that.
Right now, I'm in transition.
Okay.
Once I graduated from here, from Chaney, I went to Girard College, another historical institution that was for white boys, and it transitioned to minorities. And I was a residential advisor and also a coach.
Okay.
For 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about your experience here at Chaney.
My experience here at Chaney was a great experience. During my time, when I first came here, I went through some personal issues. My parents separated after being married over 15 years.
Okay.
And I was going through a lot. But due to the culture sensitivity here at Chaney with the staff, like Mr. Donzel Tiller, who was the dorm director at that time, and just meeting other students who were going through the same things that I was going through.
Well, I mean, coming in as a freshman or just being a young person on any campus, be it Chaney or otherwise, there's always an adjustment period that everybody has to go through. And then there are real life things that happen.
Absolutely.
You know, and you're trying to balance your academics with, you know, your real life. Besides Mr. Donzel Tiller, is there a professor or someone that you looked up to who was instrumental in your academic process when you were a student here?
Yes, Dr. Eugene Jones and Dr. Gooden, who were science professors, and they always encouraged me to do well and to be disciplined and to strive for each and every goal that I set in front of me.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you were to encourage a young man today, you know, to come to Chaney University, what's your selling point? Like, how would you pitch him? You know, how would you inspire him to come to Chaney University when there are so many other options for him out there today?
Well, being a inner city kid and growing up where my parents, they didn't go to college. And when I went to school, I went to a vocational tech school.
Which school was that? Was that Bob?
Dobbins High School.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And my major there was plumbing. And I excelled in sports. And in my senior year, I had scholarship offers.
Okay.
And I didn't take the SAT, so I had to take the last SAT test my senior year, and I didn't do too well. Wasn't really prepared to go on to college, but then I had the desire to want to go to college. So in that endeavor, I had an offer from Penn State and also Lehigh University for wrestling, and I couldn't go because of my SAT scores. And
but Chaney accepted you.
Absolutely, and they gave me a chance.
They gave you an opportunity.
Absolutely, and that opportunity led to so many different things. So the selling point that I will give to youth in the community is that you will have an opportunity where you can go and meet the same people just like you from the same community, same neighborhood, same situations that are exceeding and education and just being successful and wanting to be successful.
Okay. Where would you like to see Chaney University 5 years from now?
Thriving. Thriving to excellence, being able to see our college graduates doing, exceeding and abundantly that we can even think of, you know, and the politics, teachers, athletes.
Do you have any ideas of how we can increase enrollment? I mean, as you know, Chaney is facing the threat of closing, which is similar to a lot of HBCUs. Do you have any ideas? Is there something personally that you feel like you can go out to do to help raise awareness and increase enrollment here at Chaney so that in 5 years you can see that vitality, you know, you can see those numbers go up, you can see the level of enthusiasm for students who are either attending or returning to see that they are still part of a strong legacy. What do you feel like you can go out into the world? If you, like, when you leave here today, what's one thing that you feel like you can do right away to help increase enrollment here at our Chaney University?
Oh, well, continue to promote.
Okay.
I'm very active in the community. I'm very active with my high school alumni association. And I'm always sharing the Chaney story.
So you often go back to Dobbins?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, very active in the community. And I'm also seeking the position as state representative in the
Oh,
100.
right. Oh, right.
Yes,
That's what I'm
yes,
talking about.
Yes.
Good,
So
good.
to be an advocate for institutions like Chaney University, you know, the funding has been dramatically decreased.
Yeah.
And it's hurtful, and I believe I have the passion to be a voice in Harrisburg, in the capital, to share the story of how Chaney changed my life and how a small black college.
So let me ask you something. Okay, you're running for this position in
Yes.
office. Like, what is your platform?
My platform is education.
Okay.
Also promoting seniors as well. We have disparity in their income. You can have a senior that worked 35 years of their life and only have $14,000 a year in income as a pension plan. I think that's disgraceful, disrespectful for a senior to be 65 after they worked all their life to still be uncomfortable.
Okay. Have you reached out to other Chaney alum who are in different government offices? I know Thaddeus Kirkland, who is a member of Omega Psi Phi, and I believe he's state representative.
Yes, he is.
Okay. Have you reached out to him? Have you made him aware?
No.
Why haven't you used your Chaney Connects? I mean, that's what it's about, right?
Yes,
Using the
absolutely,
network.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have met him. We haven't really discussed too many things, but since you said that, that's definitely the next step.
Yeah, because mentorship is constant.
Absolutely.
It's not something that stops, on your undergraduate.
Absolutely.
Like we all need mentorships. We all need somebody who has gone before us to kind of give us a warning of what's ahead.
Absolutely.
Well, Kenneth, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm Tanish Laverne Grant, and you are watching the Wolf Pack Project.
Before you leave, 1 second, just do his intro again, introduce him again. That's the section.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. This is Tanish Laverne Grant, live inside the Ed Bradley television studio here at Chaney University, where I'm sitting down with Mr. Kenneth T. Walker Jr., class of 2000 biology major, who is going on to have a wonderful career in government, who's going to seek out fellow Chaney alum Thaddeus Kirkland to help give him some tipping points on how he can do this strategically.
Thank you.
I'm out.
Thank you. Good.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Now I got a tip here.
Bye, baby. See you later. All right, Jemai.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon. This is Tanish Laverne Grant. I am sitting in the Ed Bradley studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania, a university that I graduated from relatively some 20 years ago. And I have before me Mr. Jemai Springfield. We have a similar background.
Yes, ma'am.
Both from Chester, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Chaney University of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Making moves in the world.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about your experience here at Chaney University and how you even got here. Was it through the camp? Was it through the summer camp that they used to make us go to when we were kids, busing us out here?
It was funny. F.D. Jones.
Oh my
was
yes!
the center that we came from.
F.D. Jones Community Center.
I was 9 years old. It was a prominent NYSP program.
Yeah, that's what it was called. I couldn't think of the name of the program.
And, I went to that camp for 3 years, and we ran around this campus like crazy.
We owned it.
Yes.
The Chester kids, we felt like this was ours, like our inheritance, our personal. Yeah, we really did. We used to come up here and just house.
Yes.
Wow. So once you got here, was it what you thought it was going to be, in terms of the education, the nurturing, the support system? Talk to me a little bit about, your freshman year here.
Actually, coming from Chester, I had a scholarship offer from Westchester University, and by me being a prop, I wasn't able to start at Westchester in time. So my mother wasn't going to allow me to sit home in Chester and do nothing. So she said, you know what, you're going to go to Chaney University, and when the time comes for you to transfer over to Westchester, if that's something that you want to do, then we'll make that that choice. But once I got here as a freshman, and I met new faces.
Okay.
Happened to run into some basketball players that I played against in the Sunny Hill League, and we are on a similar paths, and we wanted the best opportunity that we can have playing basketball, and we made a pact that we would stay here at Chaney University and play together. So once I got here, I basically decided to stay, and I nixed the West Tuscany University option.
Westchester.
I know, I know.
I can't even, my ears are bleeding. I can't even handle hearing the word. So when you were here, you know, at Chaney, some of the professors, you know, that had an impact on you.
Without a doubt, Dr. J.B. Flynn.
You know, I was supposed to go to that Did you go to the alumni breakfast this morning?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay,
No,
so that's both of us who are in trouble now.
Yes,
okay.
yes. He's a man that actually walked, talked, and modeled the CU mission every day. If you were a student in his class, he wanted you to reach your full potential. He did not allow you to succumb to mediocrity. He wanted you to be the best version of yourself every day, and he pushed us to be the best.
Yes, he did. I had him for a couple of classes. He was just like, you need to go and come back on another day.
Yeah.
You need to adjust yourself.
Yes.
Miss Chaney. I'm
Yes.
like, oh, I don't run the school.
He
He's
was
like,
not
not in
afraid
here.
to call you out.
Wow. Okay, so Chaney University, I've been speaking about this all day. You know, enrollment is down tremendously. There's talk of the university closing. You know, how can we go out into the world and, you know, collectively encourage students, you know, incoming freshmen, high school seniors to attend Chaney? Like, why should they come here?
I believe it's one thing to promote education, because I think every college and university is doing that. But I believe if you promote love and the fact that if you come to a university and it loves you back, then it's something worth saving. And I think that's what Chaney has done for centuries so far, is this loving the students that actually chose Chaney as an institution to further their education.
So it's the philosophy here, you know, the Chaney University philosophy, where we cultivate our sons and our daughters with pride, creativity, and the commitment to excellence. What is it that you do today?
I am first of all, I work for Camelot Schools, and I'm a part of their behavior operations team. And I'm actually back home in Chester High School.
Wow.
So I work.
You need to invite me back.
I know.
That's good.
Well, you just did the graduation last year.
Oh, yeah, I did do the commencement speech. I delivered the commencement speech.
You know,
yes,
so
I did.
We have this big thing, you know, what Chester makes Chester.
Right.
And our kids have no idea that they have the ability to actually go to college.
To go and be.
So for me to be there and to be a product of Chaney University and be in that school and teach them that there is hope for you. You know, high school doesn't have to be the final step if you don't want it to be, you know. So it's always an outlet. And right now we even have a pact through Camelot School that they will accept 5 of our students coming out of our alternative program to give them an opportunity to further their education.
Okay, really quickly, 5 words, 5 adjectives that describe you that you received from Chaney University, that Chaney University gave you the ability to be what?
Integrity.
Integrity, boom, integrity.
Honest.
Honest.
Faithful.
Faithful. Woo! Faithful.
Respectful. And I'm gonna say kindness.
Kindness. Jemai Springfield, my fellow cohort, the man who has traveled the same road as I have. Thank you so much for your time. I am Tanish Laverne Grant, and you are watching the Wolf Pack Project. Thank you so much, Jemai.
Okay.
You look fantastic, B.
Thank you.
And 5, 3, 2, 1.
Good. Good afternoon. This is Tanisha Laverne Grant. I am reporting live from inside of the Ed Bradley television studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania, the oldest HBCU, founded in 1837 with the primary goal to educate young African Americans. I have before me Mr. Brian N. Phillips, fellow alum here of Chaney. Brian, talk to me a little bit about your journey to Chaney and how that came to be.
Sure. My journey to Chaney wasn't your typical journey to college. As I see a lot of students that matriculate into college now, my mother had me when she was a teenager, so neither my mother or my father attended college, but she had some cousins that attended college, and she always said, you would go to college. Didn't understand what it meant. There was no preparation. There was no college tours. There was no money put away. It was just that you would go to college. So now into my senior year, I'm about a month away from graduation, and I didn't know what I was going to do. So I figured, you know, let me go maybe to the Army, Marines, or something of that nature. So I spoke to a recruiter on campus at my high school. They called the school. My mother proceeded to give them some choice words and said my son will not be joining any military services. So she called her cousin, and I have a cousin that went to Chaney, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and they brought me up here, and they said, listen, you know, this is what you're going to do. This is where you're going to go. So, you know, that's how I made my road to college. It was sort of a last-minute, spur-of-the-moment thing, but I was given an opportunity.
So prior to your cousin, you know, was there a lot of, did your cousin like talk to you about Chaney University? Like, that's very interesting that it just seemed, oh, you have a cousin that went to Chaney, and there was no other dialogue, there was no other narrative in your household about Chaney.
Right, no, there was no dialogue at all. There was no discussion of college, and it's funny because my mother actually came to parties at Chaney when my cousin was enrolled. My cousin, he lived in West Philly, so he was a commuter student. And,
wow.
You know, my mother would attend parties at Chaney with him, but there was no discussion of, you know, let's develop the whole road to college.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was sort of a, this is what's going to happen.
So you get here, you get to Chaney, and what resonates with you?
Well,
when you first get here, like, you're on campus, you're walking across the quad, there's these beautiful buildings, it's an historic landmark, you know, these rolling acres of greenery, young African American men and women who look like you are walking around and they're postured and they're ready for success. Like, what resonated with you when your first moments on this campus here?
I would just say just that, the fact that they were all people that looked like me. You know, I went to high school in New Jersey, and my high school was a mixed high school, so you had blacks and whites, predominantly a white high school.
Okay.
But so coming to Chaney, just to see people that all looked like me, you know, sort of all with the same goal of educating and achieving greater things in life, you know, it sort of, it sparks you. It makes you want to be a better person.
Wow. So what did you major in when you were here?
Political science.
Political science. And why political science?
Well, because I felt that, you know, just in life, you know, it's dealing with people. You're constantly dealing with people. And a loose definition of politics is just how two or more people relate to one another.
Okay.
So I felt like, no, whatever you do in life, you're going to have to understand how people, how organizations, how countries function and relate. So I thought political science would be a good route for me to pursue.
And two professors here, just off the lobe, two professors here that help, you know, navigate
right.
you, help color who you are, you know, help make Brian N. Phillips. Like, who were those professors?
I would say, honestly, there were many. There was a Mr. Collins who was helpful, and then there was one professor who, for years, it's bothered me that I cannot remember her name. She was an Indian professor, and she wasn't for one of my major courses. I had her for one of the sciences, and she sort of took a liking to me. And she said to me one day, she said, you know, you have a great mind. And she gave me a photocopy of a book, which I wasn't familiar with at the time, but it was As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. So, you know, reading that really set the path for me along life, along a lot of barriers that I've had to overcome and, you know, struggles that I've had. Just sort of going back to thinking, as a man thinketh, so is he. So I would say she definitely, and it's bothered me over the years because I've talked about Chaney, that I can't remember her name, but she's definitely had a great impact just by putting that book into my hand.
Well, okay, you speak about this professor giving you this book. 5 books to the young men and women here at Chaney University who are going to see this project, our Wolf Pack project. 5 books that you recommend that they read that you think are critical?
I would say As a Man Thinketh.
As a Man Thinketh.
Definitely that, and
Okay.
that's just because of the conversation. I would say I'm a Christian, so I would say the Bible because
the Bible.
I think a lot of books today feed off of that. That's sort
Absolutely, I
of
agree
that's
with
my
you.
foundation. I would say one book that I read that definitely helped me out as far as my business pursuits. I would say Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun?
I recommend that book. I recommend that book on the train when I'm on the subway in New York when I see young men and women. I'm like, have you read this? Have you read that? And that's one of the books. I remember you and I had a conversation years back about that book. So it's interesting that that's still at the top of your funnel lobe there.
Yep.
2 more.
I would say Eat That Frog.
Eat That Frog. Now, what is that
Yeah,
about?
Brian Tracy.
Pete?
So it's basically a book on prioritizing. And in life, you have a lot of things that you have to deal with, and you have to set your goal. And the book sort of says, so if you had to wake up every morning and you had to eat a frog, what's the best way to eat that frog? And basically, it's just to jump in and start eating it, right? So when you have tasks ahead of you, when you have a goal, you have to stay focused on your goal and what are the things that you should do to meet that goal. So it's a very good book on time management.
Okay.
I read it, and I think it's helped me out tremendously. And one other book I would say, because I like a lot of sort of like motivational books that sort of help you along, I would have to say, if I had to go for a 5th, because there are a lot of them, but
I'm
trying to think what's on my Kindle right now. I would say, 5th one. Yeah, it kind of distracts you right now. There are a lot. I would say, I'm trying to skim through the pages of my Kindle right now.
Come on, B.
Yeah, I'm on the spot.
Oh, you're not representing Beta Gamma. I can't.
A 5th book, what can I say?
As a Man Thinketh.
Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Give me some on that one. That is a great book.
Yeah, so those would
Mine
be the
is
5, I would say.
like the pages are crumbled.
Those are books that you can read repeatedly.
Okay, so Chaney University, like many HBCUs, is facing a threat of closing. Our enrollment is down. You know, how can you or how would you encourage young African American men and women, you know, who have so many other beautiful offers to attend more solid, more sustainable universities, to attend Chaney today in 2015?
Right.
We only have 500 students here. I mean,
well, I would say that I sort of understand why someone would want to go somewhere else other than Chaney. You know, competition is stiff. You know, I've had the opportunity to work with some major investment banks here.
right, you've worked for Goldman Sachs. What are you doing today, like right now?
Yeah, so I was working with Goldman Sachs, and I accepted a position with another investment company called Visium Asset Management.
Okay.
So it's a smaller firm, but it gives me greater visibility, and it will allow me to even grow more in the space. So coming from a Goldman Sachs, you know, seeing the students that come there, right? I'm sorry, the employees that come there from select schools like your Harvards, you know. So it's kind of hard to say, hey, don't take that scholarship from Penn, Wharton, or Harvard. Come to Chaney.
Exactly.
You know, it's kind of hard to say that.
How
so
do we?
I think the first thing we have to do is we have to do a better job at Chaney, and I think it all starts with leadership. I think leadership has to set the tone, set the agenda, and like I've had this discussion with a lot of my fellow alums, and a lot of people don't share my opinion, but I think that Chaney should be privatized. You know, it started out as a private institution, and I think about '83 it was brought into the state system.
Right. Yep.
So I think Chaney needs to become a private institution again. And I can, you know, a lot of my experiences I now relate to my children. So my wife and I recently had twins.
And they're adorable and beautiful. I watched them on social media. They're so beautiful, Brian.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And, you know, part of the struggle was finding a daycare center for them, right? So, you know, you look for the best daycare, but you still feel no one's going to do a better job at taking care of your children than you.
Right.
So I think that no one can do a better job of taking care of our people than us. And I think that if Chaney was privatized and we put it in place, a program that Chaney can be what it was intended to be. Chaney should be up there when you think about Morehouse, when you think about Spelman, when you think about Clark's. Chaney should be in that group of schools.
Well, you know what, that's why this project was so important for me to come back and just sit down and chat with people like yourself to increase visibility. People need to know what a graduate from Chaney University looks like in the 21st century. They need to know that Chaney graduates are working in communications, that we are working independently, that we are entrepreneurs, that we can create our own media platforms. They need to know that we are doctors, that we are lawyers, that we've been employed at Fortune 500 companies, that we've worked for Goldman Sachs. You know, so Brian Phillips, thank you so much.
Thank you, the pleasure is mine.
Thank you so much for your time.
Oh yeah, you're tired.
3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, I am Tanisha Laverne Grant, reporting live from inside of the Ed Bradley television studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania, the nation's oldest historical Black institution, where I'm sitting with my fellow Miss Chaney University of Pennsylvania,
Yes.
1994-95, Natasha Dawn Dominique Prejean Livingstone.
All my names.
How are you doing today, lady?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Thank you for traveling
Yes, it was a
to
long
be at
ways.
homecoming this weekend and for taking part of this project.
Absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit about how you heard about Chaney University. You're a young woman coming of age in Texas.
Yes,
of
all
all
the way from
places,
Texas.
with Texas Southern and
know,
all
I
those
know.
wonderful HBCUs that way.
It was a very tough choice.
Yeah, how did
I know.
Chaney happen?
Well, it's really just a decision that I made to get out of Texas. So the goal was to get out of Texas, but to be at a HBCU. And
Okay.
a lot of my family are all alums of Prairie View A&M University,
Yeah,
another
Prairie
HBCU.
View.
Yes.
Wow, yeah.
And Texas Southern. So it was definitely unique for me to branch off, but I wanted to get on the East Coast. And so Chaney, when I did my research, you see, we didn't have the internet back then. So in the book,
yeah, tell me about it.
and I'm aging myself, but in the book there was Chaney, and I thought, you know, the campus looks great. And at the time, I didn't realize the history that came along with Chaney until I got here. So.
And talk to me a little bit about the history.
Wow, the history is what was the pull once I got here, and you realize what all went on the campus itself, the start of it all, just starting out as a teacher's college, how it started, what happened with Harriet Tubman, the quad, and all that was here is just such an integral part of our history, not just history, but our history.
Okay.
And for me to be a part of that and to have an opportunity to walk on the same grounds that some of our forefathers and mothers were here, it meant a lot. So that was something that really made a difference for me.
Okay, so your freshman year, walk me
Yes.
through a day in a life.
Oh my goodness.
A freshman year. I mean, there's all these customs and traditions that we have here at Chaney.
Oh,
you know, the walking across the quad and don't walk
Yes.
on the grass.
Yes.
And what time are you going to the dining hall? Because we
Right.
eat at 6.
Exactly.
Don't eat at 6:30 because those other people eat at 6:30.
Yes.
You know, so what were some of the daily customs?
Wow, for me being from Texas, it was really a different culture, so to speak. So I had to really take it all in. So I was a sponge.
Okay,
And,
absolutely.
Not only going across the quad and getting there at a certain time, but going across the quad in snow and cold, and coming from Texas where we don't have very much snow,
yeah.
that was a difference for me. As well as where we came from, there was a lot of pork, and here there was just turkey. And, so and then if you were eating pork, it was frowned upon.
Yeah.
So for me, there were quite a few changes.
people like
Cultural
Muta, like, what are you
exactly,
doing?
Muta, where are you? So, but so much was learned in that, and that has taken me to where I am now as well. But
And what are you doing now?
I'm in sales now. I'm a sales manager.
Okay.
So I manage a team, and I present and speak in front of people all the time. So having my degree in communications, doing the TV broadcasting really prepared me to just get up there, do what I need to do, and not have any reservation whatsoever.
Okay, now
So-
what is your area of business?
It's real estate.
It's real estate.
I'm on the real estate services side. So
Okay.
I train and work with real estate offices, title companies, small law firms that do closings for homes.
Okay, so one of the professors here that was instrumental in your life, that not just academically, But overall, you know, who has their handprint on you? When you think back about your time here, your 4 years.
That's tough because there were many, or I could say there were definitely two for sure.
Okay, talk to me about
Dr. Harris, Dr. Clarence Harris.
We all love Doc.
Being first and foremost, I mean, he inspired me to become who I am in all aspects, mainly because he put out there, don't fear anything. And just because the color of your skin, you can do what you need to do. It doesn't matter the industry.
Okay.
He trained us, he prepared us. The preparation was immense. I mean, he would stay after class. We would come in late, and I mean, you and I were in the same department. We would come in and do the editing, and he was right there all along. So aside from the education piece, there was also the wisdom.
Okay.
And because of where he had come from in industry, he had worked for NBC, I believe, or one of the other majors. So for him to even stop that, to take the opportunity to come and teach us here at HBCU was just, it was phenomenal. So to be able to get that information, the wisdom, and to see the decisions that he made was amazing. So,
he's a remarkable
he's awesome
human being. There needs to be
more of him.
A Doc Harris,
he was so hands-on, and that is so important. And you just can't get that at some of the other universities, and that is why Chaney stands out and why Chaney is Chaney. And that's what I believe deep down inside helped to mold us into who we are. Another one was Edith Scott Bagley.
Dr. Bagley.
And I loved her and the history and the wisdom that she brought and her experiences. Not only did she teach us, but she as well taught us about what she experienced. And being Martin Luther King's sister-in-law, that experience alone and being able to hear from someone who experienced it firsthand was just an absolute phenom to me.
For all of us, yeah.
Absolutely. And she brought a lot to the table, a lot of wisdom. So along with being taught, when you go to another university, they're good universities all over, but you can't get the wisdom, the history, and the experience and the culture that we received here at Chaney University. And that's what has meant a lot to me.
Okay, so you're a former Miss Chaney University.
Yes.
When did you, I know Texas is big on pageantry.
Yes.
So did you know before you even got on campus that, you know, I'm going to run for Miss Chaney?
I did not. It just happened. And, you know, my friends, it started off with being homecoming queen. And then after that, it was, oh, you must run for Miss Chaney. So we did it, and wow, there I was. So no, it was not a plan. And if anyone that knows me, they know I am not a planner. So I live on the edge, and spontaneity.
That's the Leo. We're both Leos.
Absolutely.
Trust me. I totally understand. I get it.
And when I'm being forced to be by the book, it just doesn't feel right. So that was a spontaneous decision. That was one of the best decisions I ever made. So to have the opportunity to represent not only an HBCU, but one of the oldest HBCUs, and participating in the various pageants, it definitely stood out.
What's one of the most memorable experiences of your reign as Miss Chaney University of Pennsylvania?
Aside from the night I won was, I must say,
that was a beautiful night, actually.
Yes, it was.
I was there. I was up front, and that was when I decided to run the next year.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, I got this.
I got it now. See? And I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
So it was that within itself, to have that opportunity to represent the university and make an impression on other young ladies that were at the university, that they can do it also.
Absolutely.
Was a big thing. But one of the most memorable moments for me was a pageant that we participated in Atlantic City. And we were in Trump Plaza, but more importantly, we took time away and we had an opportunity to visit one of the cancer hospitals for kids.
Oh, wow.
And spend time there with the kids. And that to me was one of the most, moving moments. We were able to make a difference with them and express who we were. And, that was really a big thing for me. So, Presenting myself as representing Chaney was number one, but to be able to give it back in
I'm
another
sorry,
way.
cut, time out. The whole, where did it fall?
Probably a few minutes back. So,
A few minutes back?
yeah, like 2 minutes.
No! That's okay. Breathe.
That looks like the crust of the... We were getting to the sweet spot.
I know.
Wow, Kemuel.
I'm keeping track of like 2 cameras and 1 recorder.
That's okay.
We're talking about the reign of Miss Chaney. So that didn't take?
No, you got up to, well, the last time I checked on it, it was 2 minutes ago and it was rolling. It was
Oh, okay, so maybe it was a
Yeah.
little
2
less.
minutes is a lot of dialogue.
Okay, do I need to switch up?
So she's 14, 15, she's 13, 14. She's wrong, I was angry. But I'll take my
Phone.
Okay. Okay, so I was Miss Chaney 93, 94. I don't know where to stop. You said
Yeah.
94, 95, but I'll
Did I
take
say
a year
95?
younger. Yes, you
Oh,
did.
that's my year.
That's you, yes.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Natasha Prejean, Natasha Dawn Dominique Prejean Livingston.
Yes.
I have to say it like that.
Yes.
Miss Chaney University, 1993, 94.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the most amazing part of your reign. You were talking a bit about going to a pageant in Atlantic City, going to a cancer hospital.
Yes.
A little bit more.
Okay. That was very inspiring to me. What we did was we took time away from the pageant, went to the cancer hospital, and it was a cancer hospital for children, and had an opportunity to spend that time there with them and really play with them, talk to them, inspire them, and they were just elated. So that was something to see the look in their eyes, and it just really made me feel special inside, being a young woman at that particular time. It was amazing. So that really meant something. So to take being Miss Chaney and take it and be able to give that to someone else,
Right.
even if it was just for a brief moment, and to see that sparkle really meant something for me.
Well, that's what it's about, you know, to be a lightning rod.
Exactly.
To be a light.
Yes.
To be the blue light of Chaney University into the life of
Absolutely.
somebody else. You know, we've talked a bit about, you know, why Chaney is such a gem of a university.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the education that you got here, the leadership that you got here, the
Yes.
undergirding that you got here, the
Yes.
coaching that you got here, the babying that you got here.
Yes.
All of these wonderful things. So in 2015, as Chaney faces
Mm-hmm.
the threat of closing, how can we encourage new students to come here?
I think it needs to be exposed, and unfortunately, even for myself, being in Texas, I had never heard of Chaney. I had to do my own research, and I think the branding and marketing, it has to be put out there. Otherwise, you don't know about Chaney and what they have to offer in not only the gym as a university, but the professors that they have here and what they have to offer, along with the education, but the wisdom and the experiences. That makes something whole. It's not just a piece of anything. So I think putting it out there and the marketing piece and letting former students such as ourselves be the mouthpiece for the university, because we definitely have something that we have made of ourselves. And so that is what the university should look at and let us be the face. We are the face of Chaney.
Well, Natasha, how can a student reach out to you directly for coaching, for guidance, to be a mentor, sponsorship, you know, your social media?
Multiple. I was going to say, now with social media, multiple ways. Even with me being in Texas, I mean, I feel like I know you and see you all the time.
Right.
As well as some others that I've spoken with. It's the same. So with social media, there's email, there's cell phones. There is definitely a way, and if there's not, we'll figure out a way. That's what we learned at Chaney, how to make things happen. So I'm definitely open to that. And they need that, and they need to see what we have become.
So the new millennials, there you have it, Natasha Dawn Dominique Prejean Livingston.
Yes, she says it so well.
Is an access to you. You can reach her on her social media, Natasha Livingston.
Yes.
Okay, at Natasha Livingston. Again, I am Tanisha Laverne Grant, and you are watching the Wolfpack Project live from the Ed Bradley Television Studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, darling. Thank you so much for giving me the professional hand.
And I'm just looking. I'm looking.
Yeah, that's your camera right there.
But I'm gonna be looking at you.
You can look at it. Yeah, you can just direct towards me. It's fine.
Okay.
Try not to lean back too far.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been doing that because I'm getting tired.
You need a stool with a back.
Okay. And
Quiet, please, everybody. Thank you so much.
and 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon. I am Tanisha Laverne Grant. I am reporting live from inside the Ed Bradley Television Studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania, where I have come back home to the school that graduated me some 20 years ago to speak with the best and brightest current students and alum to discuss how we can save Chaney University and can Chaney University be sustainable and viable in the 21st century. I have with me an educator here, Mrs. Kendra McKnight. I do apologize for that. Okay. Talk to me a little bit about your experience here at Chaney University and how it prepared you for a career in education.
Well, I'm proud to say that I'm a 3-time graduate of Chaney.
3-time graduate. Yes. There you go in the bullseye.
Yeah, so I came here in 91 and I began my journey. I graduated in 95 with my Bachelor's of Science in elementary education, and then I immediately went back for my master's.
Immediately?
Immediately.
You were serious?
Yes.
You weren't on the planet I was on.
Well, I thank God that my mom really said, just go for it. Don't take a break, go for it.
Nice.
And so I immediately went back in 95 in the fall, and I graduated in 97. I got my master's in elementary education, and then I took a few years of a break, but I was working, and I went back in 2000. I got my master's in special education.
Okay, so you're a young woman. Mm-hmm. You know, you're in high school. You're 17, 18 years old. Mm-hmm. How did you hear about Chaney University?
Well, honestly, my counselor. I went to my counselor, and we were discussing options for college. And I said I wanted to go away, but I didn't want to be too far.
Okay.
I was interested in an HBCU because I went to a very diverse high school.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school in Jamaica High School in Jamaica, Queens, New York.
Okay.
But it was very diverse. I was really interested in the concept of an HBCU.
Okay.
And I've always wanted to be a teacher, so.
When? When Chaney got you?
Well, I've wanted to be a teacher since I was a little girl. It may sound kind of cliche, but I was playing school and teaching.
Okay.
And so as I got older, I still had the passion to want to teach. And so when he gave me the name of Chaney and I started researching it, I was like, wow, this university started as a teacher's college. It's only 2.5 hours away from school, from my home, and it's an HBCU. It fit the criteria. So it was a perfect fit.
So who were some of the professors who were instrumental in helping to guide you in your professional life? And do you still keep in contact with any of these professors today?
Well, first and foremost is Professor Sonny Harris.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, and any education major that's come through Chaney knows how much of an impact he was on all of us.
Yeah.
His classes were fun, but he was very serious about the charge that we were going to take as being educators, especially in the urban setting. So he was very serious about preparing us.
Okay.
I would definitely say at the graduate level, Professor J. Oda Smith. A lot of psychology majors are familiar with him, but I hadn't.
I think I had that class with you.
Did you?
I think so. Remember, like we had to remember like the root of vision for the brain, and it was like the occipital lobe to the parietal.
Yes.
Do you remember? Yeah, I think I was in that class with you.
He was very serious. He was very serious, and he made a big deal about public speaking and being able to speak in front of a group. So it wasn't just the academic part. It was also about carrying yourself in a professional way. So those are just a few, but there was, and Professor Fleming. A lot of us know Professor Fleming was awesome.
So during the challenging times, you know, here at Chaney, which a lot of HBCUs face with registration or, you know, things not being in place or issues with the dormitory, what was it about Chaney that made you stay, you know, in the thick, you know, or in the eye of the storm where it seems like things just aren't lining up the way you intended them to be when you're spending thousands of dollars to pay out-of-state tuition, you know, to come here? You know, what made you stay when you could have gone and very well transferred to another university? What made you stay at Chaney?
Well, honestly, Chaney felt like home. So even though I was away, I felt like home. I started building relationships with friends.
Okay.
I was doing work studies, so I was able to take care of myself a little bit while I was here. I felt like Chaney.
We can go to Granite Mall.
yes. And I was a resident advisor, so I was given some.
Were you in
I was my last 3 years, my sophomore, junior, senior in Tubman Hall.
Oh, okay.
Tubman Hall. I've lived my whole 4 years in Tubman Hall.
Wow.
Yeah. So I felt like Chaney afforded you the opportunity to be involved in so many things. It felt like home. It was close knit. Everyone here knew each other. It felt like family. So I really didn't feel the need, you know, with some slight bumps in the road, as you say you will face. I never felt the need that I wanted to transfer. I always felt like this was home.
Okay, so how can a student today, you know, students who have so many other options to attend, you know, Penn and Temple, Wellesley, Vassar, you know, all these other universities, why would a student want to attend Chaney University in 2015 with enrollment that is way below par, with threats of closing? You know, how could you encourage? Is it possible, do you think?
I think it's possible. I think what you're doing with this Wolf Pet project speaks volumes. It's the beginning of what can be and should be.
Thank you.
I think you're welcome. I think we need to do more mentoring. I mean, if you're a communications major, if I'm an education major, if you are whatever your major is, we should be reaching out and trying to build a network of a mentoring program here so that students can see, yes, we are working within our field. Yes, we did start here and we finished and we graduated and we're doing well. So, you know, I will say honestly, I've heard from people that are closer to Chaney that live in Philadelphia, they would say, oh, don't go to Chaney.
Right.
You know, it's built that kind of reputation. But I think we can turn it around. I think what we're doing now, the dialoguing, the networking, being visible, I think people will start to say, wait a minute, well, look at them 20 years later.
Right, the reach back.
They're working, they're doing well, and like I said, we started and finished, you know. So I think it's the beginning of what should be.
Finishing is everything.
Finishing is absolutely everything.
3 words to describe your overall experience as a student at Chaney University. 3 times, Kendra.
3 times.
3 times.
3 times.
3 times, 3 words.
3 words to describe my experience?
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal. I'm
going to give you a phrase, life-altering.
Okay, phenomenal, life-altering.
And necessary.
necessary?
It was necessary because, like you said, I came here 17, very young, but I left 21, independent, no need to go back home with mommy, ready to be on my own, working. I graduated in May, I was working in September. So it was necessary. I think I gotten, really comfortable about being home and being taken care of. So this was necessary for me. It was phenomenal because there's no other experience like it. And life-altering because it really changed me. It made me know that I can be an educator, I can compete with any of those other my other colleagues that say I've gone to Temple, I've gone to Penn.
Right.
It really changed me to know that I'm just as good, if not better.
If not better.
If not better. So it was life-altering, actually.
Kendra McKnight, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You heard it here, live inside of the Ed Bradley Television Studio. Phenomenal, life-altering, and necessary. 3 reasons why you should choose Chaney University of Pennsylvania. I am Tanisha Laverne Grant, and you are watching the Wolf Pact Project. Thank you so much, Kendra.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
Likewise.
Take care.
Tanisha. And
Class, what's your class?
94.
I'm just going to go right into the interview.
okay. You love leaning back.
I can't lean back. I can't. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm sorry.
Keep working, keep working.
3, 2, 1.
Jeffrey Reed, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. Chaney University, class of 1994.
Yes, indeed.
You grew up to be a chartered financial analyst. How did that happen coming out of an HBCU like
Wow.
Chaney? We're not supposed to graduate these kinds of people, so how did that happen for you?
Right. Well, there was one of the things that I wanted to explore to kind of expand my background, my knowledge, my career. At Chaney, I did an accounting degree, but I wanted to get more into the financial world. So I kind of looked at what was out there that was the most challenging, what was the most respected.
Okay, for those who may not know, what does it mean to be a chartered financial analyst, and why is it such a big deal?
Well, a chartered financial analyst is the most prestigious designation on Wall Street. CFAs, they do different things in their careers, but it's primarily based on the public markets, stock market, bond market, investments, private equity, ethics, a whole realm of things. But at the end of the day, it's one of the most prestigious that, if you have that, it's only about 100,000 of us in the world. It's a global designation. You can carry that wherever you are in any part of the world.
So talk to me a little bit about that journey. You're a student at Chaney University. At that time, had you even heard of the exam to take for the Chartered Financial Analyst? I mean, what was that process like from Chaney to where you are right now today?
Okay. Well, I graduated from Chaney with an accounting degree. As I graduated and got a job, I started to do some accounting work. I didn't feel like it was that exciting to me, and I wanted to progress. So I went right back to graduate school. I attended Pace University in New York City.
Yeah, okay.
I obtained an MBA in financial management, and I continued to work and try to branch out into the finance area. So that's when I started to look into, hey, I need some other letters behind my name. I want to be able to achieve, something that, to me, was very challenging.
Okay, so how did Chaney University prepare you for that?
Well, Chaney definitely gave me my accounting background. Going to Chaney, it allowed me to persevere, give me that confidence that, it doesn't matter what school you go to. If you really want to do it, you put your mind to it, you can do it. And I think that's what Chaney brought and gave to me.
Okay, so you're saying it really doesn't matter what university that you go to. 2015, Chaney University barely has 700 students here right now. So how can you convince, a young person, a millennial, a high school senior today who knows how important it is to make money, who knows how crucial it is to go out into the world, and be competitive? If it doesn't matter what school you go to, how can you convince somebody to come to Chaney University under these circumstances?
Well, I would have to tell my story, and usually that's what I do, because I have younger people that I'm friends with, and they, constantly ask me like, wow, like how did you do that, and what made you do that?
And my response is, again, it doesn't matter what school you go to. As long as you put your mind to it, you can do anything. You know, there's people from, you know, Ivy League schools that started to take the CFA exam and never finished.
And yeah, you're absolutely correct. Trust me, I know the process. I know it well. So while you were here, while you were a student here, who were some of the professors that were instrumental in help guiding you through your major in economics?
I would say Dr. Gupta. She was an accounting professor.
Okay.
Again, that was my major, so I definitely
spent a lot of time in her classroom.
Spent a lot of time in her classroom, exactly. Anytime I had questions or I wanted to get extra help, I would go to her, and she would, you know, really explain to me what the accounting industry was all about, because that's what I wanted to do. As well as Mr. Fleming, computer science. You know, he was more of a role model for me. He kind of took me under his wing and showed me, you know, hey, this is what the computer world is all about. He kind of showed me, you know, these are the things that you're going to have to do out in the real world.
Wow. So what does Chaney need to do to stay competitive in the 21st century? What do you think we need to do to get up out of this slump that we're in? And do you think we're going to survive this, or do you think we're going to be, you know, in a situation like Morris Brown where we have like 5 students left? Like, what is, like, as you sit here and try and reconcile the fact that this prestigious university, the oldest HBCU, founded in 1837, you know, the sister of Coretta Scott King, Dr. Edith Scott Bagley, has educated so many of us, the late Sonny Harris, the late Ed Bradley, and we sit here in a studio in his namesake. You know, this is a legacy that if we don't play our cards right in the next couple of years.
Right. Well, I definitely would start by saying that when I first came to Chaney, it seemed as though it was the same situation. And here I am, graduated, went to grad school, have years of experience, and we're still here. I've come through that.
But Jeff, when you were here, there weren't 500 students, there were a few thousand students.
Right, so as enrollment has trickled down, I think what we need to do, one is, I think what you're doing here is a great thing. We have to get money, and we have to invest those dollars in the infrastructure.
Okay.
The things we have to invest in our students. We have to put those dollars where it's really needed, not wasting it in areas that, you know, we don't really need to put that money into. So as we go out and we talk to students, we kind of show them that, hey, you know, here are graduates, and kind of identify people around the world, country, that have come from Chaney, and say, you know, this is a great institution.
Identifying people around the world that have come from Chaney.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. Jeffrey Reed, thank you so much for your time. This is Tanish Laverne Grant, and you are watching the Wolfpack Project. Boom. Thank you, Jeff.
No problem.
That was good money.
This was neat.
And 3, 2, 1.
Camille Gatson, thank you so much for joining me for the Wolfpack Project as we save Chaney University of Pennsylvania, our alma mater. Talk to me a little bit about your experience when you were a student here.
Chaney University has always been family to me. I am an only child. So when I chose a university, I made sure I chose a place that was close to home. Once I got to Chaney University, everyone that I met, basically, they were no longer my friends. They basically became my family.
Wow. How did you hear about Chaney? I mean, was it something, you know, was Chaney University part of a narrative in your home?
No. I do have several educators that are in my circle.
Okay.
And when it came time to choose a college, Chaney University came up.
Wow,
So
okay.
I chose Chaney. I wanted to stay local, and I chose Chaney.
Wow. So a couple of professors that were very instrumental in helping you navigate, you know, college life. You know, because when you're new and you're young, you know, coming to campus, you don't really know much about anything. You're so green. So who were some of the professors on campus here that helped Camille Gatson, like, get her footing, you know, steady?
Well, I'll say one professor was Professor Ernestine Burks. She was my marketing professor.
Okay.
But there was another staff member, Joseph Devane.
Oh, Rock, yes!
He is not a professor, but he was very instrumental in my life and in my career currently.
Okay.
He and I continue to have a relationship. He's always been very supportive of me and my direct circle. He's been very supportive of us. So he wasn't a professor, but when I worked at Chaney, he was actually my boss. And throughout the years, he's always been consistent throughout my life.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the relationships and those are the experience that I think are bar none,
Yeah.
you know, that you get here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania. So with Chaney experiencing, you know, this whole idea of the possibility of it closing, it seems really bleak. It seems, it's very daunting to say the least. How would you encourage, you know, young African American men and women to still attend here? And do you think, you know, in all honesty, really and truthfully, like this is honest dialogue here, do you think they will get what you received and what I received and what Natasha received and so many other alums who I interviewed today? Do you think they're getting, you know, that same patina that we got when we were here?
Okay, first let me just say, the problems that they're having now, they had when we were here, okay?
Fair enough.
I will say that.
Fair enough.
But as an alum of Chaney University, it is my responsibility to make sure that I get the word out about Chaney University. I let people see through my life how Chaney impacted my life, okay? It's also my responsibility to get involved with the Alumni Association, volunteer, be a part of the recruiting, try to get a good student to come to Chaney University. So once you graduate, you don't just disconnect yourself from the university.
Right.
You need to basically come back and put in work. And I applaud you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
This project, excellent. But it's everybody's responsibility to give back, to talk to that student. When you know a child that's of college age, or a child that's actually looking to go to school, talk to them about Chaney. Let them know the experience that you had at Chaney. Yes, Chaney's going through some growing pains. Chaney's going through growing pains. Every HBCU is having the same pain, growing pain that Chaney has right now. But as an alum, it's our responsibility to just dig deep, roll up our sleeves, and just basically put in the work and talk Chaney up to everyone.
Forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but what is it that you majored in when you were a student here?
I was actually an accounting major.
Okay, you were a accounting major. And so do you feel within your major that Chaney prepared you for the career that you have today?
Chaney did.
Well, wholeheartedly 199% with no loopholes or missteps.
Well, one of the things, let me just say this to you. As a 21-year-old graduating college, you weren't prepared for the bills that you were going to have to start paying.
Gotcha.
Let me just be clear on that point. But yes, I do believe that Chaney University prepared me for the real world.
Okay.
I do.
Well, Camille, thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being a liaison and helping me get the Wolfpack project here today, Saturday, October 10th for Chaney's homecoming. You know, let's stay in contact, and I just want this to be a continual thing. You know, I'm hoping that I can come back next month or the next couple months and continue the series, and hopefully you can be a part of it.
I do want to say that I'm very proud of you. Keep up the good work.
Don't make me cry.
Keep up the good work. And everybody needs to look at you and try to mirror this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Camille.
Chaney.
Thank you so much, Camille. I'm Tanisha Laverne Grant, and you are watching the Wolfpack Project live inside the Ed Bradley Television Studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania, the oldest HBCU, founded in 1837. Wow. That was easy stuff.
You look like you should be going to college here now that you graduated. Okay. And you can pick it back up from where you left off, rolling.
Okay. So you, Takira. Hello, my name is Takira Jordan, Miss Chaney University, 2015-2016.
Congratulations. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
Welcome
this
to
is
the
my
fold.
first homecoming.
Yes.
Awesome.
How does it feel?
It feels awesome. It still feels surreal. It still feels surreal.
So talk a little bit about the night you won. I mean, what was that like?
Oh goodness, I felt every emotion that I could possibly feel. I was happy, I was sad, I just felt like, well, not sad, but I felt so emotional.
Okay.
It was so, I couldn't stop crying the whole time. Everybody's like, stop crying, you're gonna mess up your makeup. I can honestly say it was the best experience in the world.
Yes. So what's one thing that you look forward to as the current reigning Miss Chaney University of Pennsylvania?
I want to bring back Chaney's pride. I do. I want to bring back the pride at Chaney University.
And how will you do that?
Well, I have an initiative called See You Pride Worldwide, and what I want to do is go out and get different students to come in from high school and just come to Chaney so they can see how it is at Chaney University.
Right.
I'm going to have alumni come, because when students are talking to alum have awesome experiences at Chaney. When I speak to every alum, they're like, "What? You go to Chaney? Really?"
Right.
And if students hear that, they would be more likely to come to Chaney. So that's what I want to do. I want to get the alum involved.
Okay, well, you're the outgoing.
Yes.
Okay, talk to me a little. First of all, introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Kristen Justice, and I had the pleasure of serving as the 2014-2015 Miss Chaney University of Pennsylvania.
And you placed or were runner-up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, girl. Tell them the news.
I didn't realize that.
Yes. For the first time, I made history for the university, which was a humbling experience.
Okay, excuse me. A little correction. You did not make history. Cheryl Culbreth. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Cheryl Culbreth, who was Miss Chaney, I believe, maybe 86?
85, 86.
Okay, yeah, okay. Mother has spoken. She actually placed or won.
Yeah, she was runner-up that year, and then the next year won.
Okay.
Oh, wow. So
she's the Miss History alumni.
But remember, I did that
right. Okay. All right.
So I stand
Kristen,
corrected.
Yes. Right. So, but you continued on with the legacy.
Right. So continuing that legacy and being a part of the National Alumni Hall of Fame pageant was amazing. To meet queens from all other campuses and to be a part of that great, rich tradition was phenomenal. It changed my life.
Okay, what about you, Miss India Marie Cross?
Okay, hi, my name is India Marie Cross, and I am the 2013-2014 Miss Chaney University. And in regard to my experience, similar to Takira, there's no word that has enough emotion, that has enough power, that has enough kick to capture my experience as Miss Chaney. It was life-changing, and nothing in my life has anything on it. I thank God every day, because I really found out who I was, what my purpose was, not only on Chaney, but in life. I was playing basketball before I ran for Miss Chaney, and I never thought, pageant, anything about pageantry would interest me. And then I go and I run and I win against all odds. And it's just, I can't even, when I think about it, I feel tingles in my body. I'm so thankful to God, of course, but to Chaney as well for giving me that opportunity.
Well, I got to tell you, India, it was so nice running into you in New York City. I was on the red carpet at the Urban World Film Festival. I think it was last year or the year before.
Last year.
Yeah, last year. And I turned around, and I think I was about to interview, who was I about to interview? I think Gina Prince Bythewood, who just did the movie, what was that
Beyond
movie?
the Lights.
Beyond the Lights. And I turn around, and I'm like, wait a second, India, get over here. Get over here. So that was just an amazing opportunity to reach back and pull in. Natasha?
Yes. My name is Natasha Livingston, and I was Miss Chaney 1993-94. And it was an awesome experience as these ladies, which I want to thank them for continuing such a rich tradition at Chaney University, being the oldest historical Black university here. We take pride in what we do, and being Miss Chaney on this campus brought a lot of inspiration to myself and to others, and that I think was huge in the realm of what the other young ladies were able to see, and being able to make a difference representing your university, but not just our university, but I think a national historic university.
Yes. Right.
So when I was attending the pageants, when asked, okay, which university? Miss Chaney University. Oh, so you know, you're able to share with them your history, the legacy that we have here, and as you can see with the other young ladies, it has just continued long after us. As Tanisha and I were saying, our sashes are a little different from theirs. Yeah. So it is just, but it's a sign of the progress, and it was definitely a unique experience, and it's very humbling, and I always hold it very near and dear to my heart, representing my university, Chaney University.
Well, I am Tanisha Laverne Grant, Miss Chaney University of 1994-95. And I knew I was going to be Miss Chaney when I was about 10 or 12 years old. You know, my dad went to Chaney, and I remember watching the Miss Collegiate African American pageant, the Miss America pageant, the Miss Black whatever pageant, Miss Lollipop pageant. I mean, I was that girl. And then when I saw Natasha, you know, she was so graceful and so beautiful and so elegant and eloquent. I'm like, I got next. And it was something that I envisioned for myself. And I was very serious. I took this charge very seriously. As you can see, 20 years later, I'm here with my sash that is a little...
It's fabulous.
Yeah,
it's fabulous.
It has a little bit of time on it. But we are all a lifetime Goodwill Ambassador for Chaney University of Pennsylvania. We live the philosophy. We are the sons and daughters of Chaney University, and we are committed to pride, creativity, and a commitment to excellence. Again, we are the Miss Chaney Universities of Pennsylvania, the oldest historical Black institution founded in 1837. Thank you so much for watching the Wolfpack Project, live from the Ed Bradley Television Center here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania.
And cut.
Norma Jackson, Niles Northup, Niall Jackson Northup, Andrea Berry, Kawi Abdul Rahman.
All right, and 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, this is Tanisha Laverne Grant.
That's your turn. And go.
Thank you. Good evening, this is Tanisha Laverne Grant reporting live from inside the Ed Bradley Television Studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania. I have to my left Lahoma Jackson, her son Niles Jackson Northup, Andrea Berry, and Kawi Abdul Rahman. So, Chaney University. Niles, you are a student here. The rest of you are proud alum. Talk to me a little bit individually. I'll give you each a chance to speak a little bit about your experience at Chaney and what we need to do to keep Chaney viable and sustainable in the 21st century. Lahoma, you first.
Well, as a proud alum of our beloved Chaney University, I think it is necessary to invest ourselves as alums with educating the community with other schools, and this is what I did for my son, being a New Yorker, living in Delaware. I had my issue started and how I became vested as a alum is when I was in the schools, when he was in high schools, and they had HBCUs coming over and recruiting, and there was no Chaney.
No one from Chaney.
Right, so I said, hey, who can I connect with? Why isn't the first HBCU being represented? Of course, so, which I got involved in the alumni chapter of Delaware.
Okay.
Started there.
So now talk to me about your thoughts when your mom presented the idea of you attending her alma mater, and your fathers, both your parents are Chaney alum.
At first I was reluctant. I wasn't really for it.
Why were you reluctant, Niles? You didn't want to come here.
I mean, I didn't really know much about it, and what I heard about it, it wasn't the best. But you know, now that I'm here, I think it really changed me a lot, because in high school I wasn't really the best student. And I just came here and just turned it around.
Nice, nice. What about you, Andrea?
My experience at Chaney University was fabulous. I can't say enough wonderful things about the start that I got from a career.
And what is it that you do today?
I work in education. I'm a supervisor in education in Caroline County Public Schools.
Okay.
On the Eastern Shore area.
Okay.
So, and you know, 20 years later, you know, I would have it no other way than to have the opportunity to brag about our beloved Chaney University.
Okay. What about you, Kwai?
Same thing. I had the privilege of going to a school prior to coming to Chaney University. I went to the University of Delaware.
Okay.
And while at the University of Delaware, they pigeonholed you. So I'm the vice president of the Black Student Union. Where when you come to Chaney, you're able to be I became the treasurer of student government.
Right.
$500,000 budget. We ran a bookstore here at Chaney over at Marcus Foster. But more importantly, what I was able to get from Chaney, outside of the confidence I already had, the ability to network. There's so many minorities in Philadelphia that went to Chaney that you didn't know about.
Wow.
We're everywhere.
Okay.
And as you think about the school system in Philadelphia, most principals today, most of the teachers today, that's where they came from. They came from Chaney. So education obviously is important, but we have to, as a community, not just Chaney community, but as a community, focus more on education. And no better place to do it than here at Chaney University.
Well, in 2015, when students have so many options to go to other institutions, how do we encourage young African American men and women to choose Chaney with the problems that it's facing? It's facing a threat of closing. There are below 700 students who are enrolled here today. The resources, although you see new buildings, I haven't been here in quite some time, I see new buildings, but yet it's contradictory to what is really happening here on campus. You know, so if you have a young male, I mean, you work in law enforcement, you're an attorney actually.
That's correct.
Okay, so you see young African American men every day who are troubled, who could very well easily be the next Trayvon Martin, you know, Tamir Rice, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Oscar Grant, you know, to prevent them from having that, you know, be their calling, which is an early grave, forgive me. How do you encourage young African American men to attend Chaney?
It's very simple. Like you said, if you sit and you look at any metropolitan right now, Philadelphia, New York, none of them are different. Gentrification is going throughout the country. What do we have here at Chaney University? What do you think these new buildings are for? They're not thinking about African Americans in 15 years at Chaney University. So it's up to us to realize that their plan is to get us out of Chaney University. Chaney University is not going to close. The complexion of Chaney University might change, but not the school itself. That's why it's important for us to make sure when we talk about what school we went to, we say it proud. I went to Chaney University.
Wow.
That's how they would say, I want to go to Chaney University.
So Niles, you hear the conviction?
Yes.
Do you feel like you'll be able to say that? When do you graduate?
I'm a sophomore right now, so 2018.
Okay, so what are you majoring in?
Recreation.
Recreation, and what would you like to do with your recreation?
Going to coaching or sports and whatnot.
Okay. And Lahoma, what is your area, your profession?
My undergrad was psychology.
Okay, okay. And what are you doing now?
I am currently a care coordinator, which is social work.
Okay.
Right, with counseling and mentoring the long-term care population.
Wow. So how did Chaney University prepare you for that?
It prepared me in so many ways. And just to piggyback on what my fellow alum was saying, and what Chaney University, how we feel that it can help our young black youth, is that it provides options, opportunity.
Okay.
And unless we educate our youth, they're not even aware that it even exists. I knew growing up in New York, I knew nothing about Chaney. I knew I wanted to go to a black university, but never heard of Chaney University. And we had a representative at my high school in Long Island, which is how I learned about Chaney University and conducted a visit.
Wow.
And I think how it helped for me, primarily I came to university, to Chaney University. I left after my freshman year and transferred to Temple, and going to, because I felt that it would provide me academically a more diverse portfolio, what I thought I needed. But as I went there, I found out that I was lost in a pool of just numbers and statistics. So I returned to Chaney University.
Okay.
Where I felt their community, their family was so much in comparison to what my biological family was.
Right.
So this is where I stayed, graduated, continued my education, and now I have my son here.
Your son here. Talk to me a little bit, Lahoma, about one or two professors who had a great impact, you know, on your academic experience here at Chaney University.
Absolutely. One or two is going to be very hard because there's a bucket. But like I said, when I left Chaney University, I had already created such fulfilling relationships with faculty here. The two, when I returned, that were just pivotal to my educational success because at that time I returned and I had 9.
Okay.
So it was Dr. Saxon who was my psych teacher.
Oh, okay, Dr. Saxon.
Yes, and he was just so profound. I actually went to Quaker meetings with him and we just bond on a level that I just thought wasn't even, you know, you couldn't even do because he was college professor.
Right.
And then Elaine Carter, who was my
Miss
freshman.
Carter,
Yes.
wow. Yeah.
Truly amazing, still have a relationship. She actually, I started, when I returned, I was only part-time.
Okay.
I was working full-time, I had a child, I had a second child. And Mrs. Carter was the one who watched both my children as I returned to school, graduated with honors, taking 21 credits. And
wow.
she just empowered me, like failure is not an option.
Well, Niles, you're here now. Who's here? Who's helping you? Who's guiding you? Who's
besides me?
Dr. Tiller.
Okay.
He's no longer here.
Well, he just retired like a couple of weeks ago.
We still keep in contact. And Dr. Smith.
Okay.
J. Smith?
He's still here?
No, I don't think.
No.
Oh. So who is the Dr. Smith that you speak of?
He teaches all the rec classes.
Okay.
He just makes you want to be there. You don't want to miss his class. I have him early in the morning, so I'll show up late sometimes. And at first, show up late. He just makes you just like. I got a lot of respect for him. Put it like that.
Nice, nice. What about you, Andrea?
For me, it was Dr. Jacqueline Pease. She was,
Dr. Pease.
My gosh, she was like my mom. She was like my Chaney University mom because she made you know that not only did she expect excellence, but you were not going to embarrass her. And more importantly, you were going to represent Chaney University and yourself well.
Nice.
So she was wonderful.
Nice. And you quite...
My problem is the people I believe had the most impact on me was Mr. James Nichols.
Okay.
And Mr. Merritt. They were in the career counseling office. And Mr. Nick would actually take myself and Brian Phillips, we would go to conferences around the country.
Oh,
One of the
wow.
conferences he took us to was the conference on nonviolence at the King Center in Atlanta. So I was able to speak at that. Meet one of the founders of the CRIP, OG Bobby Lavender, who then subsequently invited me to Kansas City to the gang summit. But not being involved in gangs, I didn't go. But those are the things that you would get from Chaney University that you'll never get at another school.
Wow.
The fact that you had the opportunity to go and do these different things, and not only that, but because I'm an attorney now, he put me in place with a judge in Philadelphia, Judge Greg Smith,
okay.
who was the youngest judge ever elected in County Police Court in Pennsylvania. So those type of connections that you would get here is not because you're a number, but
right.
because they look after you. And to this day, I spoke to Mr. Nick maybe a month ago. We're supposed to be doing lunch, but that's another thing. But those are the people, Professor Mr. Balmer, geography professor, got me and Brian both in geography at Honor Society.
Oh, wow.
Talking about, again, why Chaney is important for hinterland and how geography is used to go ahead and create environments and neighborhoods later on that we don't think about. That 10-year plan that oftentimes is created that we're kept out of when they're planning and what they're going to do. So,
wow. It's so interesting as I sit here, the statement that you just made, 3 minutes ago about how the new facilities are not for us. They're for what they're planning after they have managed to close our institution once and for all. And I sit here and I really hope and pray that that doesn't happen. Are there any final words? Is there anything that you would like to say in terms of what we need to do? If you want to speak to, Congress, our new president, Dr. Pogue, is there a message that you would like to say to Dr. Pogue? Like, what is his charge? Take Chaney in a 21st century direction to keep it viable. Anyone?
Most importantly, for me, again, because of the profession, understanding different things with the law, separate is never equal and will never be equal. So let's allow Chaney to keep that separate for us. Okay. So we can allow our children and ourselves to continue to grow into the 21st and 22nd century.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Keep Chaney University separate. Thank you so much for your time. This is Tanisha Laverne Grant, live from inside the Ed Bradley Television Studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania, and you are watching the Wolfpack Project. Done. Done.
Excellent.
Right. I got a drop to do.
All right. Well, making me feel.
We both did the burgundy. It's like.
And here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, this is Tanisha Laverne Grant. I am live inside of the Ed Bradley television studio at my beloved alma mater, Chaney University of Pennsylvania. And I have sitting next to me one of my classmates, Miss Mary LaSalle Robinson. How are you this morning?
Absolutely fabulous.
Okay, so Chaney, you know, I'm having a moment here because I'm so exhausted of Chaney's closing. HBCUs are struggling. Talk to me about your experience when you were a student here, you know, and why Chaney University is such a viable institution that is worth saving.
Well, many years ago, I really was a student in high school that had no idea what she wanted to do.
Okay.
And so I had a girlfriend of mine, when I grew up, she said to me, Chaney might be an opportunity for you to kind of learn and grow.
Okay.
And so my parents were moving to Pennsylvania from
Okay.
Miami.
Okay.
And so she said, you need to check out Chaney, and so I did. And as soon as I stepped on campus, I fell in love.
So what was it about the experience? What was it about the Chaney University energy that you fell in love with?
The professors, the student body.
Okay.
It really helped someone coming in without a clue as a freshman. The nurturing that I got on campus.
Okay, okay.
Absolutely.
So talk to me a little bit about one of your favorite professors, like someone who had the greatest impact on your overall experience here at Chaney University.
Doc Harris.
Doc Harris?
Yes. Communications professor.
Okay.
Clarence Harris, and he really took his students under his wing. He took a student and I out into the community.
Yeah.
We interviewed several adults, elderly adults,
Okay.
90 to 100 years old, and that was my first opportunity to actually interview these individuals to talk about their experience growing up in the Depression,
wow.
civil rights movement, but he really made sure that his students got it.
Okay, now you work in academia today.
Yes.
Okay, now how did Chaney University prepare you for that experience and being able to pass down information to your students about attending an HBCU? Like, how does that?
Well, currently I'm a academics counselor,
Okay.
and I teach a series of first-year seminar courses. So there's not one course that I've taught that I have not mentioned Chaney University in my experience. Coming in as my freshman year,
Okay.
not knowing what I wanted to do, and I have a lot of students that walk the same path I did. So I've given them the same tools that Chaney allowed me, knowing my resources,
Okay.
my professors, kind of how to maneuver and maintain while you're on campus, and how to succeed.
Okay, with Chaney and other HBCUs being challenged financially, with our enrollment being below 700 students, how can we encourage and galvanize the millennials to even consider an HBCU today?
I truly believe that it's up to the alum to
Okay.
go back into the high schools to promote Chaney, to talk about our experiences and how those experiences can help the next generation. But the Alumni Association is huge in that process, and getting the word out. We talk about Chaney all day, every day, how much we love our school, how much we're passionate about our school, but other people need to know that passion as well.
Well, we're all passionate about Chaney University. When you think of your overall experience, I mean, because people want to know the hard truths about attending an HBCU, like why should I attend Chaney when Penn is offering me this? Or, you know, Temple is offering me this, and I want to major in journalism, or I want to major in political science, or I want to major in law. Like, why should I come to Chaney? What is going to make this experience different?
Cut for a second. There's something wrong with this camera. I gotta switch to the other one. The battery is a full battery, but it keeps shutting off. I don't know what's up with that.
So we didn't get any of that? Is
No,
that
but
what
you
you're
got
saying?
it. You got it. You got that camera picks it up on the audio, but
How we doing, Jeff?
About to wrap this up.
all It's a full battery, so I don't know why it keeps doing that.
We got it. I have plenty.
The one you described?
Yeah.
Okay, for that question, you're good, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. Right?
He cared.
He did.
He went above and beyond, he really did. He didn't think he was over body hair growing up.
I ain't had naughty hair. I don't know who the fuck you talking about.
We was young whippersnappers. But hanging with Tanisha, you got us fed. You got us fed.
Girl, I was about that meal. I was about that meal.
Gonna be closed. Cam's gonna be shut down.
Right?
That's hilarious.
Just formatting the card.
Okay. Quick question, Kemuel. Instead of them going in front of the black curtain just for time purposes, can you push in on this camera for
I can push in on this one.
push in on this one and have them say, you know, I'm Mary LaSalle Robinson and I am Chaney University.
Okay.
Or it would really look better in front of the black camera, yeah.
Different. Yeah.
All right.
Well, while that's formatting, let me just move this over. Keep an eye on that. Tell me when the spinning with the time hourglass stops. It shouldn't take that long to format.
It says now deleting.
Now deleting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you bring that back to me, please?
Your sandbag?
Yeah. Oh, you know that heavy? Thank you. This thing's so long. Okay, finished.
You ready?
Back to okay. Three, two, one.
Okay, so talk to me about why Chaney University of Pennsylvania is worth saving, and do you think we can save it?
There are young adults that need to be educated, and Chaney is going to provide that platform for those individuals to mold them, to shape them professionally, academically, socially. Chaney is worth saving because we have created and produced so many productive individuals, doctors, lawyers, politicians, educators. And it's time to pass that on to the next generation.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time, LaSalle.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your homecoming day. It is homecoming Saturday here at Chaney University, so I'm so grateful that my fellow classmates, alum, and current students have taken the time to come and sit with me inside the Ed Bradley television studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania. I am Tanisha Laverne Grant, and you are watching the Wolfpack Project.
Okay, got it.
Cool. All right, can
you keep that name?
Thank you.
You're gonna save it.
Yeah, thank you.
And 3, 2, 1.
So now I have with me an educator of this beloved institution, Chaney University of Pennsylvania, Jerron Burnett. Talk to me a little bit about your experiences when you were a student here at Chaney.
Hold on a second. I'm seeing a white piece of paper right behind you. What's white behind you?
Oh, it's my phone. I'm sorry.
Okay. Pick it back up. Start from about 3, 2, 1.
So I have with me an educator from our beloved university, Mr. Jerron Burnett. Talk to me a little bit about your experience here when you were a student.
Well, one of the things that I initially fell in love with when I came here was the beautiful campus. Our campus has, you know, acres and acres of rolling hills, wonderful landscape, and I immediately fell into a community here.
Okay.
Of students, teachers, and support staff that was really in tune to our needs, especially a lot of us coming from out of state and inner city, and just a cocoon of support and an expectation for us to really excel and be great.
Okay, when you think about some of the professors who have impacted your life as a student here at Chaney University, talk to me a little bit about your top 3.
Well, that's a tough one, you know. But if I had to choose, I would have to say definitely Dr. Harris. Dr.
Wow.
Terrence Harris. He
Okay.
was, as a communications major, you know, I had a lot of classes with him, and he was very, very, you know, very tough with us because he really understood what we were going to be entering
Right.
to. Also, I have to say Dr. J. Otis Smith.
Okay.
Very challenging. Even though it wasn't in my major, I did make it my point to take as many classes with him that I could because of the just the way he challenged us to think critically.
Right.
And
the third one?
Third one, I would have to say Miss Bagley.
Oh, Dr. Edith Scott Bagley,
Yes.
who is the sister of Coretta Scott King and the sister-in-law of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Absolutely.
She was very inspirational, and for a while I wasn't even sure if she liked me as a person.
I think we all felt like that about Dr. Bagley.
But as I began to grow as a person and as a student, you began to understand the lessons that she was teaching.
Right.
And you really had to pay attention.
You had to be on point.
Yeah,
you did not come late. You did not talk to
Right.
class. You did not interrupt someone else when they were giving their presentation.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you work in education.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, you work in Chester, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I work
Okay.
for the Chester Upland School District and the STEM Academy. I teach high school engineering and sound
Okay,
production.
so how would you encourage young students, millennial students, to attend an HBCU like Chaney when the numbers in enrollment are plummeting and they see what they believe are other viable options?
Well, one of the things that a young person should do is do some research. HBCUs are still producing more CEOs, more black CEOs than all of the big universities combined. That's just a fact.
Okay.
You know? Also, you're not going to get the, like I say, the cocoon of support at some of the other universities that you will at an HBCU, especially a school like Chaney University. Our numbers are small, but that's really to our advantage because
Okay.
of the personal relationships that you create
Okay.
with the staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Proud member of Alpha
Okay, so how did that come to be for you? Like when did you, like you're walking across campus, you're getting the energy, you know, when did you get in your head? Was it something that started when you were in high school or did it happen when you finally got to campus and just?
Well, the seed was planted in high school.
Okay.
I grew up in Springfield, Massachusetts, and one of the brothers who mentored me, Dr. Ron Johnson,
Okay.
was the director of the Dunbar Community Center. And Dr. Ron Johnson was a brother of Alpha Phi Alpha, but he was like a father for all of us growing up.
Okay,
So,
my apologies, but really quickly, what is the Dunbar Community Center?
The Dunbar Community Center is just our local neighborhood community center
Okay.
in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Okay.
It was named after Dr. Lawrence Dunbar.
Okay.
And it was a place that was free for us. If you didn't have any money, you could come there for sports, tutoring,
Nice.
mentoring, arts, culture, and those types of things. So we sort of lived at the Dunbar after school.
Nice. So that's where you met Mr.
Ron Johnson.
Ron Johnson.
You know,
Okay.
coming to college, I wasn't really certain that I was going to pledge anything. I chose Alpha Phi Alpha because of the organizations on campus. They seemed to be the more socially active, and that was sort of the tradition I was brought up in, my mother being an activist. So
Okay.
that is what appealed to me.
Okay, what do you think? Chaney University has below 700 students enrolled on campus today. I don't know how that's sustainable. You know, what are our next steps? What do you think our next steps are? You know, to keep Chaney open, to keep Chaney viable, to keep Chaney moving forward in the 21st century?
Well, one thing we have to understand is that the situation Chaney is in, it's been decades in the making. So this is not going to be an overnight fix. But for those students that we have on campus now, as a staff and also us as alumni, we have to invest in those 700 students. And we have to turn those 700 students into 1,400 students because of the support that they get when they go out into the world that makes Chaney University attractive based on the work that we do. We can't fix this thing overnight.
Okay.
And we have to be very mindful of that, you know, of that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, but we have to invest in those 700 students.
Okay.
And if we invest as alumni and also as a university and staff into those 700 students will become a lightning rod which will attract 1,400 more students.
I get it. I totally get it. Just on a warmer note here, talk to me just a little bit about one of those. Chaney is filled with lots of customs.
Right.
You know, lots of organizations. Outside of Alpha Phi Alpha, you know, what's something that you were a part of that was a part of your ritual of being a student here, something you look forward to coming back every semester?
Well, I was a wrestler, so.
Oh my goodness, I remember that.
I was a wrestler, so my day was a bit different because we got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to run.
Oh no, I never saw a 5 o'clock a.m.
We got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to run. We would run to the prison and back, and then we would, you know, we'd eat breakfast as a team. So that created like a very family type environment for us.
Nice.
And and then we had practice in the afternoon, and then, you know, study hall and those things. So wrestling really created a organization to my day, which I didn't understand at the time was going to become so vital.
Wow.
In the working world, being able to really prioritize and be able to, you know, organize my day and manage my time in a way. So wrestling kind of instilled that into us. And I was also involved in a cultural organization called Full Cipher. We would have poetry readings. Yeah, we created an organization.
We were here at the same time, Jerron. How come I don't remember Full Cipher?
Well, you don't remember Full Cipher? We would have the Kinetics poetry readings, and we would
I do remember something going on in King Hall.
We would do those in King Hall.
Okay, yeah.
And we would also do them in Marian Anderson.
Okay.
In the lobby of Marian Anderson.
Okay.
And that was sort of around the Black Lily time. When
Okay.
Black Lily was popping.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
a lot of the artists from Black Lily would come up here, and we also would do the harvest at Penn. So it was like a collective of students in the area doing that same type of stuff.
Okay, well, for those of you who don't know, Chaney University is about a half hour outside of Philadelphia, would you say?
Yeah.
Okay, so, you know, when you speak about, you know, opportunities, I think that's one thing that a lot of students, you know, when they're thinking about attending our university is the access.
Right.
That we have to Philadelphia. Were there, you know, buses or trips or shuttles that students were able to access when you were here?
Absolutely. Just being that this is the anniversary of the Million Man March.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
The university provided us with vans to drive down there of no cost, and they gave us expense for the tolls and gas and a little bit of money for food. But our student government was vigilant in saying we need to attend this, and the university didn't hesitate.
Okay.
Didn't hesitate. So also we have, you know, SEPTA comes up on campus, so you can get back and forth to the city if you don't drive. You know, as a student, I sort of looked at it maybe as maybe a disadvantage that we couldn't just walk to a convenience store.
Yeah.
You know, but however, it kept us on campus and it kept us close as students.
It did. It absolutely did.
It kept us close as students.
You mentioned something very important here, the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. When you think about increasing enrollment and getting young African American men in school, you know, when you think about the loss of life of, you know, Michael Brown and Eric Garner, Trayvon Martin, Oscar Grant, I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Do you think HBCUs should offer an incentive for young black males to attend their university?
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. We have to invest in students. And in order for the university to be able to effectively invest in students, you need powerful alumni. Not necessarily rich and famous alumni, but you need a cohesive alumni that is in tune with what's going on campus. And we need to bring students in. See, it's when you look at universities that are doing well, they're doing well because of endowments that come from alumni.
Alumni, yeah, absolutely.
That's where it has to. That's where the connect has to happen. You know, the onus is on us as alumni to put that foot forward, to be able to invest, whether it's time, money, resources, you know, recommendations, mentoring, you know, internships.
Gotcha.
We have to be able to provide those things, because what that does is that creates an incentive for a young man or a young woman to come here, because they know that when they get here, they're going to be taken care of. Things, but they're going to be taken care of professionally. They're going to be developed professionally by professionals who look like them, who talk like them, who come from where they're coming from, and are doing the things that they aspire to do.
Okay. You know. Well, thank you so much for your time, for joining me here today for the Wolfpack Project, live inside of the Ed Bradley Television Studio at Chaney University. I am Tanisha Laverne Grant, and you are watching the Wolfpack Project. Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Give me a second. Let me put my thing on in this.
Good luck. Great.
Oh, nice.
Taiwan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Someone gave that to me there. It means
that's a beautiful
my
gesture.
Health and wealth reaches the far.
My
far
health
ends
and
of the
wealth.
earth.
What?
Your health and wealth would reach the end of the oceans. Something like that. That's what it's the translation.
There we go.
Be never ending health and wealth.
5, 4,
So we're there.
3, 2. That's your 1.
Good afternoon, I'm Tanisha Laverne Grant, reporting live today inside of the Ed Bradley Television Studio here at my beloved alma mater, Chaney University of Pennsylvania, which was founded in 1837. And I have with me here one of my fellow classmates, and maybe you were a little older than me, but I'll claim that we were here at the same time. Shelton Rose, talk to me a little bit about your experience here at Chaney University and why Chaney University is worth saving.
Well, Chaney. Chaney is a place that is near and dear to my heart. It's like family. And when I first came here, I mean, I actually transferred.
Oh, where'd you transfer from? I had no idea.
I transferred. I'll just say,
I'm not giving them
any shine, but
oh, okay.
I transferred from a school in Florida, a university in Florida.
Okay.
In Central Florida. But I wanted the HBCU experience. And I remember living in Brooklyn and
where in Brooklyn?
I'm from Flatbush.
Oh, Flatbush, yes.
Caribbeans.
Okay. Yes, all day.
This is, I'm gonna, you said my age, but this is pre-internet. So I said, I said, I want to transfer and I want the HBCU experience because I went to a school that was about 97%
right.
Caucasian.
Get it.
And I kept hearing about, schools like Florida A&M down the south and Clark, and I said, well, I want to go back north. And I was looking for something that was close to New York, close proximity to New York. I didn't want to be in the South anymore. So when I read up on Chaney, I was like, okay. I never heard of Chaney actually before that. But looking through the book, it was close to New York. I saw a picture of the campus. It was beautiful.
Wow.
And I said, all right, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to transfer. My parents actually were like, why are you doing that? But it was the best decision of my life. Absolutely.
Why was it the best decision of your life?
Because I'm sorry to step on you. I was excited to talk about Chaney because I have lifelong friends. It's like
I left a family. When I was leaving, that's my family. You have to go back. It's not like,
right.
I see a lot of people that I've worked with over the years, and they talk about where I have to almost pull it out where they went to school while I wear it across my chest, my sleeve, and I'm always excited. So they're like, "Oh, you're going to your homecoming this weekend."
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, yes. So I look forward to it. It's like family. It's like a reunion. And you have people in different organizations and different majors and stuff. But when you see them, you're still Chaney. You still see you. And there's nothing like that. I would never trade that experience.
You can't compare it.
Absolutely
So
not.
when you were a student here, talk to me a little bit about a professor who had a really great impact, not just on you academically, but on Shelton Lee, the young man. I'm sorry, Shelton Rose. Shelton Lee is Spike Lee, everybody. My apologies.
Shelton Jackson. They mix us up all the time. I'm 6'2", he's 5'2". No, just.
But talk to me a little bit about that professor that had an impact.
There are actually two professors that stand out. One is Professor Song. He was a business major.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And he taught money and banking. And a lot of the things
I think I had to do a withdraw pass out of there.
Oh, he was tough. He was very passionate and about what he was saying. And a lot of things that he said, when you're 19 or 20, you just kind of, okay, Professor Song. But a lot of stuff he was talking about, focus on from your credit to investments, how you spend your money, to look at, like live for today, but prepare for tomorrow. That kind of was his thing. And, a lot of business majors imitate the way he used to speak to us. And he was like, as far as in relation to how we spend our money, in particular people of color.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
when they get money, it's like, just don't go out and spend it on, the material things that you've been longing for and now you can afford it. Like, take a step back and say, what can I do with this? How do I become an entrepreneur with this money? Instead of buying a car, maybe you do something else with it that's going to last. He said, because as soon as you go off the lot, your car depreciates. So he would say things like that now it's it resonates. 2 decades later, and I'm like, he's on the money. And some other classmates of ours that
of yours, because I haven't been out of school for 20 years.
Okay. Well, of business majors, we kind of imitate him. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but that remained with me. And also Ruth Ellen Johnson.
Okay.
And I took a lot of my marketing and sales classes with her.
Okay.
I love that lady, and I don't think she ever smiled. But because she was so tough on us that we need, and she's beyond me. Oh, Shelton, you need to do your case studies. But she was passionate, but she didn't want to show it. One of those people, if I went and hugged her, she'd probably break out, like, get out of here, boy. Kind of like that. But I remember her really helping me and really pushing me. She didn't let me get away with anything. If she thought I was not giving 100%, she was on me. And I appreciate that because she got the most out of me in those classes.
Okay. Well, as you know, Chaney is, like many HBCUs, struggling financially, struggling to stay open. How can we galvanize younger people, the millennials, to even consider attending an HBCU, to even consider choosing Chaney University of Pennsylvania, the oldest HBCU, as a viable option?
Well, one, you just said it, the oldest HBCU. And when I was looking at schools and to transfer, that's the first thing that stood out to me. It was the first. First has to remain here. Yeah. If this was the first non-HBCU, do you think they'd be going through the same things? And as far as how do we galvanize the youth, I mean, look at all the people that have come out of Chaney. Like, this is a little school, and a lot of times I have to say Chaney, and they're like, where's that? It's outside Philly. And explain it. At this point, I shouldn't have to do that. I think that if you're the first, we should use that more. As far as galvanizing and why, there's so many people that have gotten opportunities through Chaney, not just Chaney, other HBCUs, but specifically Chaney, that would not have gotten this or had this opportunity. I look back at some of the people that I attended school with, people from New York, Philly, DC, some came out of the toughest
Don't forget Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, no, the Burgh, for
sure.
Roll
through here.
Heavy Pittsburgh, heavy DC, Philly, New York, Jersey.
Right.
And they didn't come from, hardworking backgrounds. They wanted to go to school. Some of them never thought they'd go to school. And it's amazing to see some of them now that you're like, I can't believe he's an attorney now, or I can't believe this person's a doctor now,
Okay.
or this person's an entrepreneur and has his own business. That's impressive. And I think we have a chip on our shoulder here. Because when you come here, you know, one thing about professors, you know, you may get in here, but it's gonna be tough to get out. Because you're gonna have to prove yourself. And I think it prepares you for when you go out there. I left with a chip on my shoulder, like there is nothing that I cannot, there's nothing that I can't accomplish.
Wow.
When I walked out of here, I said, I can get it done. When I walk into an interview, it's not like, oh, I went to Chaney. I was like, I went to Chaney. You know, it's kind of like putting, like, basically slapping the table, like, this position is something's wrong with you.
So what field do you work in today?
I'm in marketing. I handle the northern U.S. For Grace Foods, which is an international company based out of Jamaica. They've been in business almost 100 years. And I handle all field marketing and sales activities, basically East Coast, northern U.S.
Okay.
And prior to, Chaney totally prepared me for this because I was a marketing major. I worked in the wine and spirits industry, food industry, consumer packaged goods, and you know all the things I've learned here, I've applied them.
Okay, so how would a young student get an internship with your company? How could they go about connecting with you? Because I think that's kind of what's missing. There's an element of
reach back and get. That's good. That's a good question. There are opportunities for that, and one of the things that I did when I was here, I was always in that career center.
Okay.
I got 2 great internships through Chaney, like really good, and that helped me. That helped prepare me. I remember going away one summer, and you know there were students from different universities. Just so happened, someone else from Chaney was there. I never met them.
Wow.
Brian Phillips.
Oh,
so we both interned together. We spent the summer in Virginia, but I would be willing to look at interns from Chaney. In fact, that's coming up for next spring, and I would love to look back at especially business majors, marketing, any aspect of business, whether it's marketing, finance.
So how can a student access you via social media? I mean, do you have a handle that you
I'm
would
in the
mind
Chaney online, Chaney in our alumni, the Chaney group, Shelton Rose. I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
I'm on Twitter.
Okay. All right. So
Shelton Rose.
Shelton Rose, Facebook, Twitter.
Twitter. I use Twitter a little bit, but it's Shell R NYC.
Shell R NYC.
Yes, I have to put New York in there, and I would be looking next spring for interns.
Okay.
To learn about marketing in the consumer packaged goods industry.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Shell, and I really, really appreciate you stopping through during homecoming weekend here at Chaney University at the Ed Bradley Television Studio. I'm Tanisha Laverne Grant, and you are watching the Wolfpack Project. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Go through the list of questions. You did them, but you're such an expert. You took me through every spot without.
Hey, listen.
Okay. And 3, 2, 1.
Joseph Attorney Green.
Yes, how are you?
How are you?
I'm fine. Excellent.
Proud Chaney alum.
Absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit about your experience here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania.
I'm a proud Chaney alum, class of 1994 and 99, respectively. I have a bachelor's from Chaney, 94, master's in education in 99. My experience at Chaney University was not conventional.
Okay.
When I say that, my high school advisor in 1989, I remember vividly sitting in my homeroom class, which was advisory, and she asked me, she says, Joe, what are you going to do when you graduate? And graduation was coming up shortly. And I told her, I said, I think I'm going to become a police officer. And she said, no, you're not. You're going to college. And she provided me with a phone number to call the university. And from there, she helped me fill out the applications, and I came to Chaney University. And that is Miss Jones. She's also an alumnus of Chaney University.
Oh, wow.
Once I got here to the university, I'm first generation college. So I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do once I got here. So I chose psychology as a major because I have a mother who has mental illness.
Okay.
And I pretty much excelled in the field of psychology under the tutelage of Dr. J. Otis Smith. And he was one of the renowned professors here at Chaney University.
Absolutely, I had J. Otis. I still remember the root of vision in the brain that we had to memorize. Remember that?
Yes, absolutely. So Dr. Smith, he was a professor that stayed on top of me. He told me how bright I was and that I shouldn't waste time. He taught me how to study, how much time I should put into each subject for studying, and eventually I began to excel in my grades. And I went on to become a member of a fraternity here at the University of Omega Psi Phi. And just being around men with like ideals, it eventually led to me coming back to Chaney, getting a master's degree, and then ultimately going to law school. So today I sit here as an attorney.
Nice, and we're very proud of you. So let me ask you this. You graduated from Martin Luther King High School in Philadelphia, correct?
No, I graduated from William Penn.
Oh, from William Penn High School in Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia, yes.
Okay, so you're coming to Chaney, you're a first semester freshman, you're a first generation college graduate.
Yes.
Okay. So do you think you would have had a similar experience had you gone to, let's say, Temple, being as though you're from Philadelphia, you know, that you got here at Chaney?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
And why? Okay.
I believe if I would have went to any other university, that most likely I probably would have flunked out. And the reason it wouldn't have been because of I wasn't intelligent enough. It's just that I didn't have that focus.
Okay.
And I needed the nurturing that Chaney provided from professors such as Dr. Smith. And he wasn't the only professor. There are numerous professors that I can name. Dr. Bennett, Dr. Bagley, Professor Smith, so forth and so on, Professor Fleming. There were so many professors here that stayed on top of you, that nurtured you. And then the student body itself. There was a certain...
There was positive peer pressure here.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
if you just could not be a loser student. You did not want to be the one not prepared in class, especially, you know, in J. Otis, Dr. Bennett, period. If you were a student here at Chaney University, you had to perform.
You had to perform.
That was the bottom line.
Yes.
So here we are, 2015, Chaney barely has 700 students here. How can we keep Chaney University a viable and sustainable institution going forward in the 21st century? How can we galvanize young students to attend this school when there are so many other options, so many other systems that are telling them, you know what, HBCU isn't necessary anymore. Go to Villanova, go to Penn, go anywhere, but don't go to an HBCU.
Well, I think that one, Chaney has to try to attract enterprising students. And when I say that, that's students that, so to speak, how would I say? Chaney needs to provide students who are at the crossroads, who want to go to college.
Okay.
That may not necessarily go to an institution such as Temple, such as UPenn. I think that Chaney has kind of changed the admission requirements and started looking for students who are the admission requirement. Let me back up.
No, be honest here.
I believe the admission requirements that Chaney has taken on are too high, that they would not have looked at a student.
Okay.
Such as myself.
I
when
see.
was coming through.
I see.
And I think that that's the students that Chaney needs to attract.
Okay. Here we are 20 years later from the Million Man March. The 20th anniversary of the Million Man March is today. So when you think of the loss of life, when you think of Trayvon Martin and Oscar Grant and Tamir Rice and Michael Brown and the countless other young men and women who have lost their lives, do you think there should be some sort of incentive program that Chaney University can do to reach out to extend admissions, you know, to young black men to get the enrollment up and to create an opportunity that these young men otherwise will not have or even consider coming to school?
Absolutely, absolutely. I believe that the university should go into the inner cities. That the university should look at those students who have an average skill set.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, you work in criminal law. You're a criminal defense attorney. Give me 5 points. If you were to have like a 5-point plan to increase enrollment for young African Americans, like what would those 5 points be? Like what's the 5 focus factor here to get young African American men who feel like they don't need an education, let alone an education from Chaney University, because they're going to be a rapper or a basketball player or an athlete or an Instagram overnight YouTube person? You know, how can we encourage, like honestly here, like how can we bring young African American men to our university? Like give me 5 points, something that we need to do, go out, get on the ground right now. What can we do to bring black men, young black men here?
Okay. One, you go right to the schools and you lay out the program. This is who we are. This is who Chaney is. You tell them that we have certain majors.
Okay.
We want to produce our next generation of doctors, lawyers, educators. These are the people who came from university. I once sat where you're now sitting.
Okay.
That's the first thing. You have to show them by a model of students who were in their place at some point.
You know, I agree with that 199%, not to cut you off. Marion Wright Edelman said it best, you cannot be what you do not see.
Right, that's
okay.
That's the first thing. You help them through the process of coming to the university. And then, once they get here, you have to nurture them. And the best thing that or the system that I would have in place is a system of pedagogy, teaching, right? So, let's say, for instance, you are in the field of communications. If that's a major here at the university, what you do is you take those students who are now sophomores.
Okay.
Those students who have excelled in their first year classes to tutor those now freshman students to help them along. I believe that immediate feedback helps. I went for law school, I went to Thurgood Marshall School of Law.
Okay.
And they had this system in place where in law school, what we do is you get 2 tests. Sometimes you only get 1, but you get 2 tests. You get a midterm and a final. But this particular law school, what they said was for black students, we operate better when we have immediate feedback. Okay. So what you have to do is, what you have on a test to make sure that they're understanding what they're doing as they go along.
Okay.
And then the immediate feedback part, you have those students who are now sophomores teaching them, letting them know, like, this is how you're supposed to respond to certain issues or certain questions or in that particular field of academia that you're studying.
Okay, so if there were a young man in the studio right now, what would you say to him to encourage him to attend your alma mater? The place where you walked across campus, where you attended Ada S. George's every night for your dining hall meal, where you went into Marcus Foster, where you went into DSS here, the home of the now Ed Bradley television studio that was not here when I was a student. You know, what would you say to that young man?
Well, I would tell them that here at Chaney University, I know that you will be nurtured. And the love and the support, the guidance is here. So I would tell him to one, you have to come, and you have to come with the work ethic that you want to accomplish something. First, you have to have a goal, right? And you have to be courageous in obtaining that goal. You just can't come and not put the work in. You have to be willing to work, and you have to be willing to work hard. And Chaney will prepare you for your future.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Chaney University, out of the mouth of Joseph Green, one of our fine attorneys, one of our finest alum. Chaney, historically, for decades, has cultivated its sons and daughters with pride, creativity, and a commitment to excellence. Again, I am Tanisha Laverne Grant, live inside the Ed Bradley studio here at Chaney University, and you are watching the Wolfpack Project. Thank you so much, Joe. Joy, I'm so sorry. I know you've been waiting, but I really need to use the ladies' room.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon. This is Tanisha Laverne Grant reporting live from the Ed Bradley television studio inside of Chaney University of Pennsylvania, the oldest historical black institution founded in 1837. Chaney University is the university that I graduated from, that Ed Bradley graduated from, the late journalist, award-winning journalist Ed Bradley, award-winning journalist Jim Vance, and I've decided to come back to the university to speak to the best and brightest current students and alumni about what we can do to safeguard the sustainability of this national treasure of our school. So I have with me right now Mr. Dwayne Christian, who is an assistant principal at the Pennington School in Mount Vernon, New York, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about your experience here at Chaney. You're a freshman. You get on campus, you see all the beautiful women, and you see, you know, the men of Alpha Phi Alpha stepping and hopping and doing whatever it is they were doing when you got here. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, Tanisha, Chaney University was the exact college experience I was looking for.
Wow.
One thing I liked about Chaney, which drew me to Chaney, was the location. The location of Chaney was central to everything that I needed.
Okay.
Growing up in a home where my parents were divorced, Chaney was centrally localized between the two, so I was able to get to either parents. But
nice.
One thing I loved about Chaney was the class size. I have many friends, family members, who went to the big universities, and I would ask them questions throughout high school, whereas, how does the professor get to know you?
Right.
And they would tell me by the last 4 digits of your social security.
Of your social, yep, that's true.
That's not me. I've always been the type of person, I like to get to know my professors. I want them to get to know me. If I need help, I have to be comfortable to come to you. Okay. And that's what I found out at Chaney, because doing my research before I graduated, science is my major, so research is part of my life.
Okay.
But I did my research, and I understood how they had that small population. I had a friend who, older sister went there, and she would tell us about Chaney all the time, the small family group unit, and that's what I didn't have growing up. So there's a lot of things that I was missing, that I desired, that Chaney was fulfilling to me.
Oh, wow. Okay, so one of your favorite professors, like who was the professor here that had the greatest impact on you overall? Not just academically, but as Dwayne Christian, a young man coming of age in the 1990s or mid-1990s here at Chaney University.
That's a good question. Now, me being a male, you would expect that a male would have the biggest
Not necessarily,
impact.
not necessarily.
Because actually there was 2 women professors
that
had the biggest impact. And the first one I'm going to say is Dr. Perkins. Dr. Perkins was my freshman communication 1's teacher.
I can see her now with her glasses and her hair in a fro, pulled back, yeah.
Anyone who had Dr. Perkins as a professor knows you had to have your act together.
Yeah.
You knew from that point on that you were a young adult, that you had to handle your responsibility. All jokes was to be made outside the classroom. You were on time, you refused to take a day off, you would come to her class sick.
Yeah.
She instilled in you pride. She instilled in you that determination to succeed. She allowed you to be creative through writing.
Okay. And the other professor?
Miss Bly, she was my trigonometry teacher.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now,
see, yeah, your classes, some of these professors, I'm like, who? Because communication arts, I have no idea. Okay.
Now, Miss Bly, and I mean no disrespect, we called her the Dragon Lady.
Oh,
goodness. And the
goodness.
reason being is because, just like Miss Perkins, she had a high standard. She expected nothing but the best from you. And me being a brother of Alpha Phi Alpha, and she knew that, and her being an AKA, she pushed and pushed and pushed and made sure you were not going to fail her class. You were going to do the best you absolutely can. Failure was not an option.
Wow.
So these two women professors actually drilled that into me, which I carry to my everyday life today.
Okay, you said something really interesting. Failure is not an option. As an educator, as an assistant principal, how can you encourage new students, millennials, to choose an HBCU like Chaney University when they feel they have so many other options that will be a buttress and undergird them to success in a way that they feel Chaney University cannot?
Well, one thing about Chaney, which I tell my students today, whether they're in middle school or even students in high school who reach back to me, I always suggest an HBCU, and the reason being is because culture. Okay. One thing I tell my students is, when you go to an HBCU, you get a sense of your culture that you may not receive anyplace else as you go to, let's say, Duke or Georgetown. When you are amongst your people and you see that we're all here for the same purpose, to educate and uplift, to reach back and pull the next man up, you get a sense of pride in who you are. You get a sense of pride of what your purpose is. You get a sense of pride as to where you wish to go.
The Chaney way.
And that's what Chaney gave me. And because of that, I know that my job is to bring somebody else up, because I've learned through Chaney that your education is not yours. It's for you to use with somebody else so they can better their life. And that's one thing I've learned from Chaney. This is what I bring to my students.
Absolutely. Okay, so if there was a young man, and I've been asking this question to a couple of our classmates, if there was a young man right before you, right now, what's the one thing you would say to him? That one thing that you would say to him to convince him to come here when he has aspirations to be a rapper or a basketball star or, you know, football player or, you know, Instagram model? Like, how can you impress upon him the importance of education and an education here at Chaney?
What I've done, because I've been in this situation before, and what I had to do was basically share my life with this young man.
Okay.
And once he would ask me questions about my life and where did I get my inspirations from, then that's when I would bring a Chaney. And I would tell him all my experience at Chaney. I didn't come to Chaney a well put together young man.
None of us, I didn't come, well, I was pretty well put together when I came as a young woman, but no.
You know, I won't lie, I made my mistakes, but I learned from my mistakes. And one thing I can honestly say was that there was always someone at Chaney who was there to support me. Outside of my professors, I remember Mr. Donzel Tiller.
Mr. Tiller, yeah.
He was a father to us all.
Just retired.
And just retired. May God bless him. May he stay blessed and highly favored. But he was an inspiration to us all. So there was always somebody here at Chaney that you could go to. It didn't have to be a professor. I remember Miss Martha in the cafeteria. As hard as she was on us, she made sure she made sure she fed you.
She didn't feed me. She was like, bring your meal card, Miss Chaney.
But there was always somebody there who was there to look out for you. It didn't matter what position they were, because there were no small positions at Chaney. This was a true family unit. And the young men who I talk to, I talk about the pride, the cultural pride. I talk about the historical aspects of Chaney. I teach them how Chaney prepares them for everyday life.
Okay.
And from that, they take a liking. And even if they don't go to Chaney, at least they look towards the HBCU. But of course, I'm trying to be biased and put them towards Chaney. And they look into that.
All right. Well, Dwayne, it was a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for joining us here inside the Ed Bradley Television Studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania. I am Tanisha Laverne Grant, and you are watching the Wolfpack Project.
Thank you, and stay blessed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. See, that was easy, right?
Yes, I hope I did well.
What's wrong with you two?
Nothing.
Tanisha. Who's Tanisha? Who's next?
Christina.
Does she need makeup, you know?
Take a look at her.
Kind of insulting.
No.
Big judgment. Wow, you ready?
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon. I have another fabulous Chaney alum sitting next to me, Jennifer Laws. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So talk to me a little bit about your experience here at Chaney University and what made Chaney stick out for you to want to attend here.
Well, I'll have to start off by saying my experience was great. To go to an HBCU that was fortunately local and to be part of this legacy was something that was very pleasing to me. Most of my family went to HBCUs, so I chose Chaney to, like I said, be part of the legacy and to pursue my education. Typical day was to wake up, hit snooze 4 or 5 times from studying all night, you know.
Now, where'd you live here?
What dormitory?
Yeah, what dorm?
I was in Yarnell, I was in Truth and Tubman.
It's so funny because I don't have memory of you like living on campus.
My first year I commuted. My first year I did commute because I actually transferred from community college or Philadelphia, took some time off, worked for a little bit and was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and make it to this HBCU and be a part of this.
And your mom works in education.
My mother and my father and many of my families went to HBCUs as well in the southern states.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about one of the professors here that had a really great impact on your experience as a young woman and as a student here at Chaney University.
I'm going to say Professor Burks. She was, I believe, a business writing professor, and she kind of pushed us to speak in front of the class, public speaking, a little confidence, and the girl next door is what she really was. So it was lots of comfort when dealing with her, like kind of like an aunt.
Nice.
That is teaching you, but also giving you opportunity to go out into the working environment and to be confident and represent Chaney.
Okay. Well, as Chaney University, along with so many other HBCUs, are struggling financially, you know, to stay viable and to stay sustainable and to stay competitive, how can you encourage, you know, a young woman to attend our beloved institution that we are, you know, so passionate about, when they feel like they can go to Villanova and they can go to Penn and they can go to Drexel and they can go to Wellesley and they can go to Vassar? You know, why would they want to come here? What would make them want to come here?
Just what, like you said, they can go to all these places, but why would you not? This is the first HBCU.
Get into
so many fabulous educators, engineers, doctors, people have come out of this school, minority. And we need to be a part of that. Just to know that you're a part of this is some excitement has to be within this. I get passionate when I think of
we all do.
The idea of this school being extinct. That's a hurtful feeling. So encouragement would be deep conversation, intense and sincere conversation with any young woman or man or anyone.
Wow. I mean, what do you think our next steps, you know, could be to help increase enrollment? I know we're sitting here in the Ed Bradley television studio, which was not here when I was a student, so I'm really happy to see that this actually has materialized. I mean, we had spoke about this when I was a student. So, I mean, what are our next steps to help bring awareness? Like, what is something that you feel like you can do personally, on the ground, you know, when you leave here today? What is something you feel like you can do?
Before you answer the question, it looks better on camera if your knees are touching, so also make sure your knees keep them touching.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, anyhow, well, how do you, yeah, just make sure you keep the knees touching. It looks
how's this?
Fine.
Okay. Not that I've put much thought into it, but now I am. If I were, just an example, to go to my HR office and get involved in recruitment, if they could kind of pull me in or me to even become more active and come up on the campus during those days of, I don't know, high school students are here, and tell them my experience. Just, you know, when I say high school students, as they're here, just college hopping.
Right.
I could be like that eye contact with 1 or 2 people, like, you have got to be a part of this university. We're growing so much, and I know some things are going, you know, unfortunately some things are going downhill for this school, but if I could be a part of recruitment, part of talking to our youth during their college tours.
Okay.
I would like to do that. And
Okay.
I'll probably need to look further into that.
You should, Jennifer.
should.
We all should. I mean, it's up to the alumni.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what partially separates the success of other universities versus our
Right.
universities. We have to take a level of accountability. Some of the blood is on our hands in terms of whether or not we're going to be able to, why we're in this situation. How
Right.
did we get here?
Yeah.
Are we paying our dues? Are we coming back on campus? Are we doing things like this? Letting the world know who we are. In terms of, a beautiful moment, like an aha moment that you had when you were a student here, when you kind of felt like, you know what, I'm in a good place. This was a good choice for me. Do you remember that?
I'm going to say graduation.
Okay.
It's bittersweet, but it was a moment.
Nice.
Where my 5'7" stature was 6 feet. And that would be it.
Okay.
Graduation.
Wow.
Bittersweet, but I've conquered.
Okay, so post-graduation, you go into your career concentration is?
Business administration.
University prepare you for that?
Well, it gave me much confidence in general.
Okay.
Personal and professional. The business courses that were challenging, economics.
Not to cut you off because I did ask this question, but I remember I think it was you telling me to take Dr. Shawwalker. Do you have Dr. Shawwalker for English?
Yes, but I don't remember.
Because I almost failed. I'm saying that on camera.
Really?
Yes, I think it was you. I had to get out of that class. You know what? I had to get out, but then I came back like the second semester because I just wasn't ready.
Was it tough?
Oh, I wasn't ready. Ernie Shawwalker.
Yes, I remember vaguely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were like, no, take Dr. Shawwalker. You just have to.
Up for the challenge.
Yeah.
I was kind of one of
You
those.
were. You really were. You had drive, ambition, and execution. That I will definitely say about you, Jennifer. So just getting back, graduation, Chaney preparing you for your career in business. Just give me 5 points of how Chaney prepared you. Number 1 would be?
Confidence.
Okay. And number 2?
Fulfillment.
Confidence, fulfillment.
Legacy, if I could use that.
Legacy,
to be part of it. Family.
Oh, family's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Family's a big one. One more. I think there's one more.
Yeah, it's one more, but that would probably be some nurturing.
Nurturing?
During my time here.
Okay. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Again, I'm Tanish Laverne Grant reporting live homecoming Saturday here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania inside the Ed Bradley television studio, and you are watching the Wolfpack Project. Thank you so much, darling.
Appreciate it.
That's my applause. Say good question? Yes.
Don't make me in here cry. Don't ask me the tough questions. But who did you date when I see you sneaking out of King back in '98?
Shut up. When I was a super senior. Should have graduated already. Why am I even on campus? Why am I even on campus?
And 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, I'm Tanish Laverne Graham reporting live today from inside the Ed Bradley television studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania, the nation's oldest historical black institution founded in 1837. And like many HBCUs, Chaney is fighting to stay viable and sustainable as it moves towards the 21st century. I am here today interviewing the best and brightest students, current students, and alumni, and getting their take on what we can do to save our beloved institution. I have Christina Clark here with me today, who is the owner of the agency, an entertainment firm based out of Las Vegas that specializes in getting representation for DJs. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, so Christina, talk to me a little bit about your journey here at Chaney University and what prompted you into entrepreneurship.
Well, I went to college to Chaney to own a nightclub. That was my goal in life. I wanted to own a nightclub, and I wanted to manage New Edition. And I wanted to be on Video Soul with Donnie Simpson, talking about New Edition. That was my lifelong dream.
Perfect. Sounds like a plan to me.
So at that time, you know, I said, well, my mother said, well, I guess we need to go to school. What do we need to do? So I thought about Chaney because it was close to home.
Okay.
You know, I can get back and forth if I needed to go home for you know, any reasons like that. So I enrolled in Chaney in 1992. As a business management major.
Okay.
So Dr. Burke, she was my intro to business professor. And she said to us, well, what are you going to do? You know, you need a skill because business management is so broad. You need to specialize in something. So whether it's marketing, accounting, something. So I said, I never thought about that. I just thought I was going to go to college, learn how to use computers and read contracts, and that was it.
Right.
So
she opened the scope for you a little bit.
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm so grateful that she did because I would have just been an intro to business management major and not honing, you know, different skills to specialize in. Because she said that's how you make money. You need a specialty.
So how did you hear about Chaney though? I mean, was it, you know, a university that was mentioned in your home? Did you have other students in your neighborhood that, you know, would come home on break? Like, how did you hear about it?
Well, I'm from Philadelphia, so Chaney was always one of those schools, whether it was Chaney, Westchester, Temple, University of Peace. So I grew up in Philadelphia, so I always knew about Chaney as the school.
So was it your first choice?
No. Chaney was actually my third choice.
Third choice?
Third choice, but one of my sister's friends, who's an alumni, Kim Evans, she went to Chaney.
Yeah, Kim Evans.
Yeah, she went to Chaney, so I would come up for parties and events and things, of course. And then I said, wow, this is pretty cool. And everybody was just so nice. And it was a small campus, which I liked, you know, as opposed to bigger, you know, campus. And it just seemed like it was a family. So she really, by me visiting her, is where I really said, you know what, I can come to Chaney. So Chaney actually went from my third choice to my first choice.
Wow, I love it. I absolutely love it.
After visiting Kim. So I'm glad I chose Chaney, and Chaney chose me. So
it definitely, it does choose you.
Yeah, because for me, I wasn't the, you know, A student in high school. You know, I went to Roxborough High, and I was more like a BC student. And you know, the bigger universities, you know, they look at your grades and things like that. You know, you can't get in even if you had good SAT scores. But the thing, this program that Chaney has called Act 101. And it was a semester you come in early prior to starting your freshman year to help you just own some more academic skills. So it was a summer program for about 2 months. You know, you live in a dorm and you're on campus for 2 or 3 months before the semester starts just to get you, you know,
acclimated to
college life and academia. So I thought it was great. And I met, you know, it was smaller classes and, you know, you just learned a lot. Basically, it was like summer school.
Okay. So let me ask you this. How would you encourage young women to attend our beloved Chaney University?
Wow.
Today in 2015. You know, as it fights to stay open, as it fights to keep its legs, you know, how can we encourage young women, like in your own personal life, you know, how can you go out, Christina Clark, you're an entrepreneur, you know, you work in entertainment, but as a businesswoman, you know, you work for yourself, you are your own boss, what you catch is what you eat, you know, so, so how would you go out into the world after today, you know, and inspire and motivate women to come here, young women to come here?
Well, I'm always about inspiring others, just not women, but men in general, people in general. You know, I like to, you know, encourage people to reach their goals. But as a woman, because it's really, I hate that question, the woman question. Like, oh, you're a woman and you do this and you're a woman. Because I think for me, I've just gotten so far because I didn't think like a woman. I just think like a business person. But if I have to bring the woman side into it, I think with Chaney, it's because it's smaller. You know, you can learn more. It's more hands-on. It's not larger like other, you know, institutions. And I think for here, I've developed such a sisterhood with so many women. You know, and I think that's important. And you may not get that at another university. And I think just in general with HBCUs, I'm glad I went to an HBCU. You know, when some people say, oh, you went to an HBCU. Of course I went to an HBCU. Are you kidding me? Because I think what happens, and I notice in our communities, you go to, say, a predominantly black elementary school, a black high school, a black college. So then we get into the real world, you can't deal with different cultures.
Right.
So I think for me, coming to Chaney, for me as a woman, I would encourage women to come here because there's nothing like sisterhood. And there's nothing like attending an HBCU. You can go anywhere else in the world, and why wouldn't you want to go to Chaney? We're the first.
Right.
We're the first HBCU, not the second, the third, the 15th.
The first.
We are the first.
The first
The
HBCU.
first. And I'm so happy with my education here, and it's prepared me, and the great advisors I've had to prepare me for entrepreneurship.
Okay, 5 words. Tell me 5, adjectives that, describe you that Chaney is responsible for in helping you, nurture and build your business.
Networker.
Okay.
Entrepreneur. Leader. Kindness. And authoritative.
Well, there you have it. Another proud Chaney alum who sits here today, accomplished, cerebral, going to do big and wonderful things in the world. Christina, thank you so much.
Of course. No, thank you for
Thank you
this
so much
project.
for coming.
This is so important to our school. It is so important for not only our alumni, but our undergraduate students to see this kind of camaraderie and to see alumni in what we do. So thank you so much. You're awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Again, this is Tanish Laverne Grant, live inside the Ed Bradley Television Studio at Chaney University of Pennsylvania, and you are watching the Wolf Pact Project. Yeah, we got to get some food. My eyes are starting to...
Yes, thank you. So yeah, so when this is done, let me know. I'll help you with the PR and stuff. So just
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
Of course, yeah.
And
I'm so proud of you, Kai.
I didn't do anything.
Girl, everything you went through at Comcast and everything that we all go through on a daily basis to try and keep jobs and roofs over our head.
You're not kidding.
Right? And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Kaya Jackson, how are you?
I am doing fabulous.
Proud Chaney alum?
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about your time here at Chaney when you were a student.
It was a really interesting experience because I had been accepted to other colleges, and I went to a predominantly white high school.
Okay, where'd you go?
I went to Rancocas Valley Regional High School.
Rancocas Valley Regional High School?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and so when it was time for me to graduate, I didn't think I was ever going to go to college because I didn't have any money to go to college. But a mentor of mine came to me and said, well, why don't you go to Chaney? And if you go to Chaney, you won't be the only one anymore. Because I was always the only one acting, the only one singing, the only black person who was in the chamber. Right?
I get it.
So I went to Chaney, got accepted and went to Chaney. And it was a very, very wonderful experience for me.
How so?
Because sometimes you ask, well, what was your favorite teacher and, what instructor, helped you the most? And in my case, it was administrative assistants.
Wow, no one's talked about the administrative assistants today here at Chaney.
Yes.
And we all have a very special relationship with the admins here.
I had a very, very special relationship with them. If it wasn't for them, I would have never graduated. A lot of them helped me get work study. One particular, Elaine Miller in athletics, was extremely helpful with homework, with trying to find a job, with even things like I had an abscessed tooth and she took me to get my tooth pulled because I didn't have the money. So, Elaine Miller, Marie Williams, Wanda Pickett, and Murty Sweet. Without them, I would have not ever graduated.
Now, what did you major in when you were here?
I was a communications major.
You were my major, but I don't remember a lot of classes with you. That's so interesting, though.
Yeah.
Okay, but you graduated before me, I think.
Yeah, 94.
Okay, yeah, that would explain that. So, in the communication arts department, do you feel like, because we're talking, this is so awesome. First of all, we're talking today from the Ed Bradley Television Studio. The late television journalist, 60 Minutes, CBS. Ed Bradley started at CBS back in, I believe, 1960-something. Was at WDAS or CBS Radio, and then went on to do great and wonderful things. And he was a student here, and I remembered reading about him, and he was saying, I was not a great student,
Right.
but I was a worker.
Right.
I wanted to work, you know, and to have, to sit here today, 20 years after 20 or so, some odd years after we both have graduated, to sit here today inside the Ed Bradley studio is pretty amazing. So do you feel like when you were a student here, the same time I was, that you were prepared to go out in the world and really to compete in the field of journalism, in the field of communication arts?
Absolutely. I had Marlene Livesey, who was a professor that just expected, you know, the best from everyone and really didn't take anything less than that. But
I tried, because I tried.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, but she was also, you know, besides being extremely intelligent, she was also very creative. And so she knew how to deal with students and could see very quickly, you know, what their specialty was. She knew I wasn't ever going to be a person who was going to be in front of, you know, newscaster, whatever.
Oh, no, really?
Never. But she did know that I had a really good rapport with people and that I was very good with the public. And so she helped me to hone in on my interest in public relations and things like that. So, yeah.
So what do you do today, Kaya?
Today, I am project manager in Comcast Corporation, and I am in the High Potential Talent and Professional Development team.
High potential talent?
Yes, yes. I actually just got this new job, but for 10 years I worked in community investment at Comcast Corporation at the corporate headquarters.
Okay, let's get back to high potential talent, because I love this phrase, high potential talent.
Yes.
So what does it mean, you know, high potential talent?
In my mind, it means what everyone expected of me. And so high potential in Comcast, their reference to high potential are people who are the ones who can raise the bar the highest and have the most skill and can lead people in the best way.
Okay. Wow. So talk to me a little bit about your journey at Comcast, because one thing that is not taught, I believe, at any university is how to navigate the corporate landscape.
Yes.
Because it can be like a landmine, Kaya.
It can. It can. I always refer to it as playing chess. And so you have to be, you know, very perceptive. You have to, you know, make sure that you strategically think of the next step way before the next step happens. And so I believe that if I had to think of one of the things that Chaney helped me with, it was that.
Okay.
It was, you know, pretty difficult because when you go to college, when I look at young people now, and I mentor a lot of young people, when I look at young people now, ones that went to HBCUs and ones that did not.
Okay.
One of the things I know that they're missing is the ability to navigate. They're really, really, really smart, but then once they leave school, they have no skills to apply to real life.
How does that get taught in the classroom? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
I do know what you mean. And most of the time it's not.
Listen, I could use a corporate strategy class. We all can.
Yes. It's most of the time it's not taught in class. So when you're in, one of the things I learned at Chaney was you could tell what professors were putting so much more into you. Like you could tell, it was sort of, you got some sort of connection. And then when you got that connection with your professor, they would say to you, you know, when you go to work, you need to be there on time, right? I had a professor who would close the door and would not let anyone in.
Dr. Bennett?
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna say, because Dr. Bennett was that person for me.
Yes.
She could just look at me and I'd be like,
yes, exactly. Exactly, right, exactly. And so I found it extremely interesting that she would close the door and not let any students in when the class started. And other students would think she was being really, really mean by that. And she would say, if this were a job and you were late all the time, you'd be fired. And so when you come to Chaney, you have to have, you know, some sort of, you need to be receptive of those kinds of lessons. And then
Okay.
you take that and then you apply those to arenas that are chess-like, like corporate America.
Okay. Kaya Jackson, you talk about mentoring.
Yes.
And I know you do a great deal of it because I follow you on social media, and she's wonderful. She goes to the graduations, you know, she attends, you know, family functions, she does lunch and dinner and teas. Kaya, you mentor some of the best and brightest young women who can go to any school.
Yeah.
How would you encourage them to come to Chaney when our enrollment is down, when there are threats of us closing? I mean, how can you encourage a young woman, you know, to come on board and be a part of, you know, our wolf pack?
Right. One of the things that I do in order to encourage them is to use myself as an example. I grew up in Camden, New Jersey, had a single parent. My single parent was disabled. I had to fight to get into school when it was time to go to college because I didn't have the finances to. So I try to use myself as an example of, okay, you can go to Chaney and be a smart student and not necessarily be the party student.
Right.
But I also explain to them that Chaney provides something that most schools don't, which is this sort of fostering of all the things that don't necessarily, that aren't just academic. It fosters, you know, the survival skills that if you just went to any school, you may or may not catch it like later.
Yeah. You know, one thing I'm grateful for that I got here as a student at Chaney was tenacity and to just stick to it.
Yes.
Don't leave, don't cut and run.
Yes.
Yes, the line is long in registration, but if you leave,
yes,
and your turn comes up and you're somewhere else, then you missed it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Then you missed it. You know, I've learned no matter how bad or how bleak or how dark or how dank things could be, because I can remember times when, you know, paperwork got mishandled, you know, and things like that. It's easy to go run back home. But when you attend Chaney University of Pennsylvania, you are just, like you said, taught some real hard principles.
Yes, and I know that with some students that graduated with us, maybe a couple of years
Wait
before.
a minute, I graduated years after
you. Graduated with us, or the year before, the year after, that would be you, right? So I know that a lot of times there's a frustration with Chaney where they say, oh, well, I had such a hard time getting anything done and nobody kept my paperwork and blah, 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 and so I don't know why they're asking me for money, or I don't know why they're asking me for support. And I think the same things that those students complain about are the same things that are helping them in their lives without them even thinking about it. Like, I know for a fact that when we talk to people on the phone and somebody says, okay, hello, my name is so-and-so and so, I'll be your customer service, we write it down.
Wow.
We write down numbers, we write down names, we keep paperwork. Like those started off as things we didn't really necessarily like.
Absolutely.
But now I'm sure that most of us keep paperwork, keep copies, make sure we have it electronically, you know.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
So one word, if you can, because I know it's very, very difficult, but one word to describe your overall experience as a student here at Chaney.
I would say groundbreaking.
Thank you so much, Kaya Jackson, for your time. I'm Tanisha Laverne Grant, reporting live from the Ed Bradley Television Studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania. Bitch, you just brought that motherfucker home! That was hot! I'm sorry.
Because I just got an Instagram, so I'm getting used to it.
Oh, God!
I'm saying, fighting to save the first HBCU from closing.
I'll be back.
Whose spot are you going to get this food, or are you?
I'm not going to nobody's plot. I'm going to buy y'all some food.
Oh, please. Oh, give me a nice salad.
Because I don't want to mess with nobody's plot. I can't mess with nobody's cooking. And you won't eat no chicken. I don't know why you tell me to waste my money on chicken. I'll be back.
this time? How much is that?
I'm almost blind.
I'm glad to. You want to get something going? Gotta be more than 10. You have these forms, right? Oh, well, that doesn't give me a number. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No worries. I mean, whatever you want to do. I got like. Whatever you want to do. So, because this side is like down a little bit, and so sometimes. So it's like. It's almost like two birds.
Okay.
One side. So something
Turn off my recorder.
I'll be back in like 3 minutes. Right. Okay, so you're going to have to switch seats because the left side is the side. I think I may want to switch direction after Renee.
Yeah. Different location? To make it seem like yeah, you're right, that's a good idea. To make it seem like, you know, you didn't do everything in one day.
Yeah.
And if you have a change of clothing too, I mean, the top.
Well, I think we can go outside.
Outside?
What do you think?
Oh, shoot. Yes, we can. I was like, I should be like, Cameron! There we go, and
No, says he from Philly. No.
5,
Same
hang on. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon. I have with me Miss Renee Waters, or Mrs. Renee Waters Goldsmith. Yes. We were students here together at Chaney University. How are you doing today, Renee?
Wonderful. I'm so happy, so excited to be back at Chaney again. You know, this is my thing. I come every year for homecoming, so I am just excited.
Talk to me a little bit about your experience here at Chaney University when you were a student.
Well, when it was wonderful. Let me say that. It was very, very wonderful, very rich.
Okay.
And not only in academics, but socially as well. I learned an awful lot.
Okay.
And I'm grateful for that. Very grateful for that.
How did you hear about Chaney University?
Actually, at a college fair.
Oh, okay.
And in the school
you went to Girls High.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
She's smart. Okay.
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes.
Yeah. No, you're very, okay.
And so at a college fair, and I applied to 3 universities.
Okay.
2 out of state, and Chaney was the only in-state university that I applied for. And I just decided, like, this is where I want to be.
Wow.
This is where I want to be.
So what was it about the university?
I came for a visit.
Okay.
And I just fell in love. And what I really liked about it was the fact that it was very close to my home, because I didn't want to leave my parents at the time, but I still wanted that full college experience.
Okay.
And so I decided to come.
Okay, when you think about some of the professors here, like who's one that had like the greatest impact on you overall, not just academically, but as a young woman coming of age, you know, being raised in Philadelphia, coming to college, you know, and getting those nuts and bolts of what it meant, you know, to be a young African-American woman making her way, you know, into the professional world.
And yeah, just pick up. Yeah, just pick up.
Okay.
Yeah, go.
And I really hate to single out the professors because I think all of them were just excellent, very excellent at what they do. But if I had to choose, it would be Dr. Gloria Stone Mitchell.
Wow.
And it still is. She was everything back then that I wanted to be as a special ed teacher.
Wow.
Very bright, just knowledgeable, and even in her teaching, in her work, she was very loving. She gave second chances. You know, there were times where, you know, I was up till midnight working hard on something and it was due the next day, but then she would say something like, as long as it's on my porch by midnight. So she, you know, she gave us her address, as long as it's on my porch. And even if I'm not there, leave it because my sons or my husband will be there.
Wow. Wow.
And so I said to myself, when I become a teacher, like, that's what I want to be like. I want to be knowledgeable for my children. I want them to know everything that I know. And that's how she was. There was no stone unturned. Whatever was in her brain, she taught us that.
Wow.
Because when we got out into the field, she wanted us to be excellent and smart as well. And even the giving us second chances, I wanted to be like that.
Wow.
Loving, caring, and not just give us a grade, but this is what I want you to earn, and this is what I want you to know. So when you leave here, I always felt like she prepared us, you know, in that cohort to go against any teacher, anywhere.
Wow.
Hands down.
That's pretty fantastic. When you think about Chaney University and where we are today, like many HBCUs, you know, we are facing the threat, you know, of closing.
And so, coach teachers.
Okay.
And so sometimes they are discouraged because sometimes they may not have the grade, and sometimes they may, you know, just not have everything that another university may be looking for, right? But here, because I was socially crazy. I was like out of whack, right? Even though I had the book smarts, I was socially, you know, maybe not fitting in.
No, we were here the same time.
Yes.
You know, you were my buddy. This is one of my buddies.
And I learned from you as well.
And I learned from you how to be like, no. But you know, it's just so crazy. We all extracted.
Yes.
From one another, you know, what we thought or what could have been missing or what could have made better, I like to say.
Yes.
What could have made better because, you know, you spoke your mind in a way that everybody understood. You're not going to mistreat, you know, Brene Waters.
Right.
It's not happening.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I can do that too. You're not going to mistreat Grant.
Right. And I think when I looked at you, right, it was like, Brene, before you enter into this building, do your hair, right? Yeah. Put on a little bit of eyeshadow. Put on some makeup and dress your best.
Yeah.
Dress your best, right? Because we were going to the cafeteria in sweatpants, sneakers, and we was like, no, we have to wait for Miss Grant, and Miss Grant would emerge from her room looking beautiful. And we're like, wait a minute, how come we can't look like that as a junior, right?
But we could, but you did. You know what I mean? We all did.
One day a week.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, and I would, and also there is the culture here.
Yeah.
Is geared toward us.
Yeah. It's sisterhood. It's
It is.
bond. It's our
is.
blackness. It's our womanness.
Absolutely. And it gives you that sense of love who you are, love where you are, and love where you need to be and where you have to go.
Brene Waters, I'm sorry, Benet Waters Goldsmith. I'm speaking with all these men and women who I was on campus with, so please forgive me. But as we move forward in the 21st century, what is your vision for Chaney University of Pennsylvania?
I would love for Chaney to be that university that comes to the forefront of children's minds. When they first think about going to Chaney. When they first think about going to school
college, yeah.
or going to college, I want Chaney to be at the forefront of their brain. And I don't want Chaney to be an afterthought.
There you have it. I think that's, I'm going to close with that. The objective is to not have Chaney University be an afterthought. This is Tanisha Laverne Grant reporting live from the Ed Bradley Television Studio here at Chaney University of Pennsylvania, and you are watching the Wolfpack Project. That was awesome, Brina. That was awesome.
Thank you. Hopefully I didn't look crazy.
No, you look amazing, man. Try not to like think about it. I know it's hard. Girl, I have eczema, like my eczema